say that.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Here we are. We're back. It feels like 10 minutes ago we were together, and now we're back again. Welcome to the Thursday thick of it. This is GreenBean here on Thursday. I am happy that you are with us. It is an exciting night. We have so much good and bad to talk about. It's a crazy season. We're just taking over Rookie of the Week. I mean, they might as well just shut that down, you know? I mean, Joe Douglas brought in a bunch of rookies, and they're just going to keep winning because they're among the best, and Jets fans are undefeated. And then we got Defensive Players of the Month. We got the worst quarterback in the league. We got all kinds of crazy stuff. So we're going to get into it. I love talking Jets with you guys, and maybe we'll even get to the bottom of some of these lifelong or at least couple year-long issues that we've had floating around this team. I'm feeling philosophical tonight. And for that, what would I do? How would I philosophize without our good friend from Pittsburgh, Frankie from Flatbush? Frankie, you want to philosophize?
Of course. How you doing, everybody? You know, there's a saying, GreenBean, down in Texas. It's remember the Alamo. But we got a game on Sunday where we should remember the Alonzo, because that team up there stole our Alonzo Dotson from us, and we should never forget.
Alonzo Dotson. Yeah, you see that? How do you feel?
I am still upset by the loss of area scout Alonzo Dotson.
That's right.
You can't take that lightly.
You can't forget, and that just it emboldens the rivalry, Frankie. You know, like they came into our house and they stole somebody. They stole our stuff. Yeah.
What right do they have to steal our scouts?
I don't like it.
We got to lose our scouts now? It's not good enough. We're losing players and losing games. Now we got to lose scouts as well. What the hell?
I don't like it, Frankie.
Bastard.
I really don't, man. Now, Frankie, I want to ask you a very important question. I am hearing something. Are you hearing something? No. It's almost like there's a game on or something. Do you hear that? I mean, I'm being serious. Like, I have nothing running, and I hear a game. I mean, the game is on, but it says it's off.
I got my volume off on the game.
It was like 99% off. That's what it was. It was like I heard. That's what I heard. Anyway, we fixed it. Solution-based thinking. We're here to fix it. That's what Frankie and I do. So to start fixing it, let's start this thing with Jets Forever's traditional green heart. He sends the green love before he brings the green pain, Frankie. That's what he does. He likes to do that. And we like having you here, man. Talking Jets with Tigo. Look at this. It's his birthday, Frankie. He is 18 years old. And it's, you know, we want to welcome you to the adult side of things, Tigo. It's nice to have you. Yeah. So I already said to him, if you want to get on, you know, come here and send me a DM in Twitter. I'll send you the link and you can come on and say hi. What do you think about that? So little birthday Tigo action. Maybe we do that, Frankie, you know? Boozer is here.
He might be celebrating already, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. I know. We might bring him on. He's like, I tell you another thing. And another thing. Boomer Esiason can go to hell. Boozer's here, and he says he's not sure. You know, this is something I want to get into with Frank. I'm sincerely curious on Frankie's thoughts on this question from Boozer32. And Boozer, I want to apologize, man. I was going through my emails, and you and I were supposed to meet, and somehow, or maybe it was Facebook, I forget, I was like cleaning stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, I completely fell off the map on you guys when you were coming through town. Just please understand, it's not personal. I'm just scattered. And it hurt my heart. That was even a month ago or something. I forgot to tell you. It's a whole thing. Just know it's not personal, Boozer. And we're going to get into this. Why did we throw the ball? We dropped Zach back 44 times, Frankie. We had 41 attempts. and we ran the ball 14. I can't wait to get into that later, and we'll bring you up when we do, Boozer, because that's his intelligent gripe, Frankie. Now, the Jet Show is here. Mr. Show, always love having you. Our good friend Harry. Yeah, we get right. Harry's feeling positive. There's no reason not to feel good about a 5-3 team. I keep telling everybody that. I mean, our quarterback is, he's got stuff to. He's got work to do. But other than that, we are 5-3. Hank loves it. He says hello. Happy birthday to Tigo. Anthony's in a good mood. This is good, man. This is good stuff. Now, Jets Forever, who is, he's impervious. If you like somebody, there's these bulletproof. Doesn't matter. I don't know what you guys are watching. Zach was great. Gyro is here, or Hyro, or Yairo, or Yiro. Gaitan, our good friend. Harlan's here with Stud City. They're together. Iowan Jets fan with his traditional buttholes. Iowa, I didn't know. It's funny, right? You never know what's going to stick. And now all of a sudden, he can't have a live stream without saying, "What's up, buttholes?" You never thought that was going to be it. But here you are, the butthole man. Vafaduced, what's up, Kevin? Biting off of Jets Forever. You don't care. You take it. You don't own no green heart, Jets Forever. So it's good. Anyway, you guys are the best. We're happy to have you here. Kyle Orangeby's here. Scuttlebuttle, hello to you. So many of our good friends. Hawk is here, and Joseph Schwert and Alpha Anaconda. We see all you guys, Indiana and Hennessy, and we're happy that you guys are here. Now, look, the Thursday night game is on, and we'll talk about it sporadically. If you remember, Frankie, this was the night where the whole Tua Tagovailoa situation happened. It was, you were the one, I think, that saw it first out of us anyway, and it wasn't good. And since then, the NFL has changed, honest to God. Not that they weren't already heading this way and they were already sensitive about quarterback hits and all, but it has been, in my opinion, a stark left turn. Like if you touch a quarterback now, there's a flag going out. And, and we saw some of that this week. We'll talk about that as well. But the Thursday night game is the undefeated versus the almost winless. And if we've been watching the NFL for any length of time, this is a setup. This is the time where everybody and their mother's like, oh my God, this is going to be a slaughter. And the Texans are going to come out and they're going to trap them, man. You think could happen, Frankie? Could this be a trap game? The Texans steal the undefeated from the Eagles?
It could happen. Even if it did happen, I don't think the Eagles would be like, shoot, big deal. We lost a game. All right. There, we got the one out of the way. On to the Cowboys or whoever they're playing next. You know what I mean? Like, it really even wouldn't be that. I mean, they would come out and say, we're upset and blah, blah, blah. But it really, in the grand scheme of things, would just be like, all right, well, I guess the Texans want worse draft position then. I mean, because really, it's not going to affect anything. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, maybe. You never know. It could be the beginning of a skid. And I think most teams, look, if you get to 7-0, which most teams never do, right?
Yeah. Well,
you get to 7-0, there's at least that sneaking, that little thought that sneaks in like, hey, man, maybe we could be the ones that stop those assholes in Miami from drinking champagne every year. You know what I mean? I'm always rooting for somebody. The only time I didn't root was when it was the damn Patriots. I was like, oh, my God. Like, why?
Next,
right?
It'll be the Bills.
The Bills, right? The Bills go undefeated, and they're the ones that I'm sick of it all. I just want why can't the Seattle Seahawks or let the Arizona Cardinals please get it out of here because I don't want it. But let me ask you this, Frankie: if the Eagles lost this game and let's say Jalen Hurts looked bad, do you think their fan base would absolutely go ballistic and start talking about firing people? What do you think about that?
No, they'd be 7-1. They're going to say, so what? We had a trap game. No, they love Jalen Hurts now. I mean, Hurts is an MVP candidate, and rightly so. He's way up there. And if there's any, and he's a good model for hope, for those who struggle in their first year and even their second year, because look what he's doing now, in addition to Josh Allen and a bunch of other people. So no. Now, if he loses to the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are next for them or coming up. Like the Cowboy game is the next big game for them. They got to beat the Cowboys. They already beat him once, but The Cowboys did not have Dak Prescott. So, didn't count. It only beat Cooper Rush. So that's not good enough. So, they're looking for the next matchup with the Cowboys at full strength. And then if they win that, then they'll be off and running. But no, one game, they don't want to lose, obviously. But
Right.
I don't think anybody would take it too seriously. They would just say, trap game,
Yeah, you know what? It's that logic. It's like, look, if we were going to lose one of the games before Buffalo, maybe we should have lost to Green Bay. Maybe we should have lost to Denver. Why you got to lose to the Patriots? There's more important games. Not all games are created equal, everybody. I want to make sure that we know that. If we would have just beat these Patriots, Frankie, and we'll get into that, and then we'll tell Buffalo's in the house and say, hello, Buffalo. It's good to have you here. He says this one's personal. I can't imagine why it would be personal for Buffalo Jet fan, but we'll try to figure that out later. But it's like, look, man, coming into this 2-game stretch before the bye, it was real. Like when you looked at it, Frankie, it was like, okay, whatever the Jets did before this, we happened to pull together a 4-game win streak. But whatever happened before that, going into the bye, without a 2-game losing streak was really optimal. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, don't ruin any positive feelings that you would have built up before the bye. Remember, we were supposed to go 1-8, 0-9, 2-7, something like that. And we were even saying 3-4 wins in the first half of the season is a success. That's what fans were talking about. Realistic fans. We can get 3 or 4 of these games up front and then head into the back end. We have a legitimate chance at being in the hunt. Well, we took 5 of them, and then we lose, Frankie, what I considered to be an attainable victory. Really within our reach. So much in our reach that I went out of character, Frankie. You know me by now. I'm not one that calls for the benching of young quarterbacks in the middle of I'm not. I'm like, dude, he's, you have to keep him in. We have to use him. Now 3, 4, 5 years in, okay. But when the fourth quarter started, I was legitimately thinking, and Mike White had his helmet on for some reason. All of a sudden he's standing on the sideline with his helmet on. I thought that this game is so in reach, so close. All we have to do is hit the underneath that is open all day. It's either running for 5, 6, 10 yards has been open, or the running backs have been open, or the tight end. The underneath was open almost all day long, and Zach just, for whatever reason, was unable to hit it outside of the first drive, which he looked very, very good. Good start for Zach Wilson. But I thought, like, Mike White, his specialty is just throwing it to 3 fucking yards. I think his average was 4 yards, when he played. And I was like, that's how close it was, Frankie. I can't even believe, like, there was no point in the game that I really thought we were going to lose until, holy shit, we're losing this game. Like, I really thought it. Like, our defense is beating them up. They were bending, don't break. They had some play. They made their plays, but defense looked great. The special teams decided this is the week we're going to be iffy. And then Zach completely imploded, and I thought he was the problem. So, Frankie, number one, how'd you feel about this one? Did you think it was as winnable as I did? And was Zach the problem for you? Or was it bigger than that? If Zach wasn't playing that way, could we have won it? Was it him?
Yes, it was winnable. And yes, it was mostly Zach Wilson. Now there's plenty of blame to go around. The offensive line wasn't great. And, the running game didn't really get off to a great start and all this, but it was mostly Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson played terrible. What we said last week was, let's hope the Denver game is as bad as it gets, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and plays even worse. So it didn't exactly play out the way we had been hoping. So that was it. And I think the disappointing part about it is that we're seeing the same errors and same mental errors occurring over and over and over again. And even though in some of the previous games they didn't result in turnovers, we're seeing the same processing errors and mental errors occurring. So that's the opposite of progress. It'd be one thing if he was getting sacked, if he was under pressure all day and couldn't locate the ball and was inaccurate. But if the process was good, in other words, if he was trying to manipulate the pocket, if he was getting to his second and third reads, if he was getting outside the pocket and throwing it away and not throwing it on the sideline where they can catch it, Zachary, what is that all about? We saw that in the Pittsburgh game.
Right.
The problem was when he did it against Pittsburgh, Minkah Fitzpatrick had his toe on the sideline and they said he's out of bounds. But it was the same play from a Zach Wilson perspective. And now we see it again, and they called him inbounds at this time instead. And then now it was a turnover, then it wasn't. So we're seeing the same mistakes repeated over and over again. And I think that's more, and Jeff Otis Brown is wrong about this, although it certainly didn't help.
I'll tell you what, it could have been, if going into the half at 17-3, though, that could have been the dagger.
I mean that was but they scored on their first drive coming out anyway. So it's 17-10. You think they can overcome a 7-point deficit? I mean, this isn't baseball where 17-3 and the game's over. I mean, it's two scores.
Well, I'm just saying it's a momentum thing as well. Like going into the half with that last, being able to drive on them, get 2 scoring drives, then that it's like, it just looks like our game. The crowds, the energy is palpable.
Definitely would have been better to do,
yes,
to do that for sure. But everybody's saying the game's over at that point. It's really not. I mean, you need to rethink, and it doesn't excuse Zach from doing what he did. Everybody wants to give Zach, for those people who do, not everybody. Some people want to give him a pass because of the JFM thing. And it's like, no, that doesn't excuse what he did.
No. Plenty of opportunity after that. Like, yes, that was a huge play, 10-point swing and momentum, all the stuff. And it was JFM doing it the second time. So it kind of cracks in lots of directions. It's like a spider web crack. Like one acorn falls on your windshield and there's a little crack, and then something happens, goes, whoosh, and it's like, wow, look at all the shit that thing ruined. And it's like out of nowhere. It's something like that. Like, I agree with Jeff that that was a big, big, big play. And it felt like things changed. You want to know why, Frankie? Because it came on the heels of the Zach Wilson interception. So it was like Zach threw that pick. It looked like we were going to go down, drive, get some points before the half. We had 2 minutes or whatever it was. And he throws the pick, and it's like, holy cow, he blew it. You know what I mean? Oh my God. So that sucks. Then we get the moment. Yeah, defense took it right back. And we never get to see pick sixes. I mean, that was beautiful. You know what I mean? It was really, really gorgeous. And then it was taken away. So I think it's really bigger than just the numerics state. But I do agree with you. We had a whole half of football to win, and we could have at any given time. When we just didn't. So.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that it's more than just the outcome. It's part of it is the outcome. And that was a winnable game. And we knew we had Buffalo after that. So if we had won that one, we would have been going into this game and been like, okay, if we lose it, okay, who cares? We're way ahead of schedule. We already got 2 division wins. Nobody expects us to beat the Bills anyway. And then we got the there's Jets forever. Zach didn't play terrible.
Well, but let me just say this.
If you think Zach didn't play terrible that game, this reveals how delusional and ridiculous this person is.
Right. It reveals mental illness is what it reveals. Illness.
Yeah. Because this was a horrible game. I mean, and the thing about it was we keep seeing the same things from year one. The thing that disturbed me so much was we keep seeing the same we wanted to see progress in Zach from year one to year two in specific ways, staying in the pocket, manipulating the pocket, getting to his reads, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's not doing any of that. And then also cutting down on the completely ridiculous turnovers that are unforced and terrible. And we're not seeing that. We thought that was caused last year by, him being a rookie and getting the plays down and everything like that. And now we're seeing it in year two when he's supposed to be better. So
yeah,
that was the most disturbing thing to me.
Yeah, well, I actually agree with you. I think, that's the thing. And look, we're going to spend a lot of tonight talking about some good stuff and some I really want to get to the Buffalo game. But this is Frankie and I haven't talked to Frankie yet. So we gotta see what the hell we're thinking here. But Anarchy Al has a really good point. And I want to see like what we think about this. He thinks 7 more points would have won it. I mean, do you agree?
No. I mean, the halftime was coming up.
Well,
you think Belichick wouldn't have done something different? And then they came out and scored 7. It would have been 17-10, and they're down 7. And they would have played differently.
I think he's just saying, Frankie, 7 more points would have won the game.
I mean, we lost by 5, so yeah.
Yeah. All we had to do. That's it.
by
That's all we had to do, man.
mathematically true, but
Right.
in real
Yeah.
life, the game would have played out different. So,
And it's funny. I want to point out too that in this game, Davis Mills and the Texans look like they are serious tonight. Driving, running, tight ends, wide receivers, great catches, really sharp uniforms. Just want to say that. I'm telling you guys, this has trap game all over it.
Well, let's see how Jalen Hurts responds.
The Eagles are walking around with a fat lip right now. All right, anyway, Dylan Grace checking in. Frankie says, why do the Patriots always do this to us? Why do we always look like a turd with them? Dylan, I'm going to give you my theory, and and it's not even a developed theory. I'm just going to start talking, all right? And then we'll see what Frankie thinks as well. But I did notice, so it's like when we went up in 3 down and 3 early, 3 and out, and then Braden Mann shanks the punt, which he's been booming them, right? He's been really solid for us. He has his moments, but really solid since week 2, right? When Braden Mann shaked the punt, I said on the live stream, no, not again, because this is what this team does. And here's what it is, Dylan. There's an energy that grows and becomes its own life form out of scenarios. Like we create mountains out of molehills. It's like when somebody just can't hit a free throw, right? Remember Shaq? Guy's dominant, but he gets to the free throw and he can't. You know why? Because he made it bigger than it is. He made it bigger than it is. Now, Belichick is fantastic, right? No, I mean, anybody saying that he's not is ridiculous. Now, the Patriots are not the juggernaut that they were, but they still have Bill Belichick and they still have talent, right? They're not decimated. They're not the 2018 Jets, right? That's, and they're never going to get there. That's just, and so you have all of that stuff. When you look at Zach Wilson, who came into the NFL and we're at that point, we were on an 11-game losing streak to the Patriots, right? We haven't beaten them. And I mean, maybe something like that, whatever the hell it was. And he comes in, he throws 4 interceptions right out of the gate, right? So Bill Belichick does his Bill Belichick thing. The year before, Sam Darnold's seeing ghosts and the whole thing. He throws 4 picks. Then the next game, they're going to go get him. We're going to get him, man. We're better now. And it's 54-13. Okay. So going into this game, it's already massive. Now, just like Bart Scott said, we should have just looked at this game. We are a better team. Calm it the hell down and go out there and beat the living shit out of them. Let them know they don't even belong here anymore. The division's not yours anymore. Get out. You're not going to luckily sneak and limp into the playoffs this year. Not now. He said, choke them out. And that's what we should have done. And it looked like we were going to do, to me. It looked like it. When we drove early on, touchdown, beautiful pass to Conklin in the end zone. I mean, that was one of Zach Wilson's best passes, quite frankly. It was beautiful. But we made it in. As soon as he threw that pick, it was like, oh no. But I felt it. Like the special teams were off. The defense was bending and we were struggling offensively. I think it's just because of the mystique. It just is it's all of that. And it got built up there, Dylan, because quite frankly, we sucked. It was allowed to be that big because we couldn't beat them because after Rex Ryan, when he was 3-2 against them in 2010. After that, the team got eroded. We were not good enough to hang with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and they just started shellacking us. Todd Bowles and the Brandon Marshalls came in, and we won 1 game against them, but that was it. And, since then, we've had a lackluster team that wasn't able to compete. So now it's a big, huge aura around it. And that's what we're looking at. In my opinion, that's what we saw in many respects. Frankie, do you have another take? What do you think it is? Why is it butt fumbles and ghosts? What is this?
Well, the thing I would say about it is that the Bill Belichick's teams, if you watch them objectively and you take your hate out of it, you realize even in preseason, they're just fundamentally sound. That's boring. I get it. But at the very baseline, they're fundamentally sound. Always. They can block. They can tackle for the most part. Even though we had 6 sacks, I mean, they're still going to move the ball. Did they do anything spectacular in that game? I would argue they didn't. But you know what they did do? They didn't miss any field goals. You know, they had one interception, which was a tip ball. So, you know, they don't do stupid things for the most part. They don't beat themselves. They wait for you to make mistakes, and then they capitalize on them, and they don't make any mistakes of their own.
Right.
And if you're a superior team and you play fundamentally sound, you'll beat them. But if you're not, and if you make dumb mistakes and you just play YOLO ball, hey, YOLO, let's throw it up there, they're going to intercept it, and they're going to make you pay. And that's what happened. You can't be JFM and hitting the quarterback, throwing, take 2 steps and hit him after he throws it. You can't do it. No matter how much we hate that rule and whatever, it's not how it used to be. That's how they're calling it these days. And you have to know that. You have to at least try to get out of the harm's way. And if you at least try to, not hit him,
right,
then they'll let it go. But he launched himself into him, and everybody who is knowledgeable about it, including all kinds of rules experts that they contacted afterwards, said, yeah, that's a clear roughing the passer. There's no doubt about it. So you can't do those kinds of things. You just can't. And they take advantage. And in that case, they all they did was kick a field goal. That's it. We were still winning.
Right. And look, when we saw it, we saw the replay. I'm like, that's bullshit, because you know what bothered me is that we already had the pick. Like, the pick was already half the way down the field, and then they threw the flag, which bothers me on just a, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it seems like we should have at least got the interception, but you don't in that instance. But as soon as I saw it, I said, dude, it's not like I can even complain about it. Yeah. Now, was it soft? Yeah. But long gone are the days of the defensive lineman gets 2 steps and then he can just wallop them. It's gone. It's over. Yeah. It's over. Now, I'm of the belief that the NFL should really, review this and solidify the rule. There should be much less, guesswork or, much less left to the feelings and thoughts of the referee. That's my thought. It should be very cut and dry to me. If this happens, then it's a penalty. If that does not happen, now that's tough to do because there's a lot going on, but I do feel for the defensive linemen. They're running full speed. They're trying really, and then he throws it and it's hard. But like Frankie said, you can't then grab him and give him you can't give him the full shove. You just can't. You can run into him and, hey, man, okay. But you can't, blatantly do it, man. And what's blatant today is different than what was blatant in 1999. But it is. And look, JFM he already learned this lesson. He did it in the Bengals game, right, with Joe Burrow. I was another one. It was like soft, but he did it.
But he did it. And you are the one pushing Joe Burrow near the sideline after you saw him throw it. Like, you don't have to do that, JFM. Like, you just don't. Like, so you can't. Yeah. So you can't really blame the refs. But this is why the Patriots, because they're very well coached. They've been there for 20 years. They have their systems down. Belichick's a mastermind genius defensive coach. Everybody knows that. Whether he's the best of all time, I have a gripe about that, but there's no doubt that he's an excellent coach, especially on the defense. He has all of his systems down pat. They know how to coach, and they're not going to beat themselves. And that's what they do. And when they have talented teams, then they blow people out. And when they don't have talented teams, they play like this, and they beat you barely. And but they beat you. And that's how it goes.
Now, Gyro Gaitan, he says, we should have traded man. I just want to tell you right now, he's the 4th rated punter in the NFL.
And trade him for what?
I want to just say that, we really do get hard on punter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one shank, like we do. I see it all the time. I hear it. Like when we're in the live streams, fans, whatever. I hear that a lot. Like, Braden Mann is exceptional. Now, he's had his clunkers, right? Everybody does. The Cleveland game was all Braden Mann. He did the fake punt. He did and let me tell you something. The onside kick this week was gorgeous.
How about the little switcheroo footsie?
Dude, did you see it? Dude, there were I saw something with I think it was a dance coach that was interviewed. How difficult is this? I was like, really? It was on YouTube or so. I was like, get the anyway, it was like this beautiful move. And guess what? We almost got it. If there was even a bobble, we were there. And it's just, look, it's hard to do that stuff. But outside of that clunker, He did. He had a good game, and Braden Mann is an asset, man. Now the special teams, like the returns, and that lowers the punter's average. Don't forget about that. Like the punter can kick it, 68 yards, and if he gets a 40-yard run back, it's a 20-yard punt or 28. Right. That's what it is. Now sometimes you can say, well, the reason he got the run back is because there's no hang time, and yes, there's all factors, all kinds of stuff. Braden Mann, for the most part, has been booming punts with beautiful hang time and, with inside the 20 and the 5. And he's a very, very good punter, and he's only in his third year. Like, we got this guy for a long time if we want him. And then, long gone are the days of, having 3 punters in one season. Even last year when Braden Mann's leg got ripped off, we had Moorhead, right? Was that his name, Frankie? Morstead. And he was good. But it's like, dude, we have a punter that can be here a long time. In my opinion, he's really good. Now, I just want to point something out. You see this comment, guys? I just want to point out. This is the type of comment when someone shows their hand. That's what this comment is called, okay? He knows 9 out of 10 of you feel the exact opposite of this comment, right? He knows it. And he does not agree with this. No one does, okay? He's doing this specifically to get you upset. So don't bite, please. Right. Don't bite. That's all it is. It's design, all right? That showed your hand. Modine, I thought you were better than that. Usually you can at least put it behind a guise. That's let me tell you right now, you're losing some steps here, buddy. You lost a step, Mo. You used to be a better troll. Not anymore. You're not so good. So, hey, let's do this. Now, look, Zach Wilson had himself a tough day. Now, Jets Forever is, look, you can hang your hat on. It's his first 300-yard game. He threw for 355 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in the air, which he has struggled to do this year. Now, look, you had the Breece Hall 1-yard line passes and all that stuff said. He struggled to get touchdowns through the air. He got 2 of them, and they were pretty. They were pretty touchdowns. He got 355. So there is an argument to be made that, number one, he had a very good first half before the interception. But number 2, that it was a lot to do with the game plan, Frankie, that for dropping Breece Hall, Zach Wilson back 44 times. He had 41 pass attempts, 1 rushing attempt, and 2 sacks. So they dropped him back 44 times in a scenario where the weakness of the defense is known to be their running. Their rushing defense, right? Particularly quarterbacks, but even just the regular old-fashioned rushing attack. And it's not that it's even. Like 44 dropbacks, and Frankie, we ran the ball outside of the one Zach Wilson rush 14 times. So what do you think about that game plan? And then after this, we're going to move into some really good news about the Jets, and then we're going to get into some Buffalo stuff. But what do you think about that? There's a lot of people that aren't hanging this on Zach to a degree, but why are we asking him to drop back 44 times in a game when the rushing attack was working? They had 4 yards a carry at the point, why aren't we sticking with that, or at least utilizing it and balancing out the offense? Why is this the game out of nowhere that we decided, Zach, it's on you, kid. You got to win it. What'd you think of that?
Well, a couple of things. Sometimes those numbers can be misleading. If we're doing an RPO, you don't know what the quarterback's going to do, for example. So if we're running a triple option RPO, it could be a run, it could be a running back run, it could be a quarterback run, it could be a pass, and it all depends on what the defense gives you. Secondly, you also have to know what kind of boxes you're facing. If you're facing heavy boxes, running is not going to help you. So you got to understand that there's audibles involved, there's triple options involved. You can't prescript the whole game. It just depends what the defense is giving you. If they're stacking the box against you, then you got to throw. And on top of that, we fell behind in the second half and we had to throw to catch up, so, and plus we didn't have AVT, our best run blocker as well. That's another factor that everybody's forgetting about. AVT is a superstar, by the way, that we
Yeah.
don't have anymore. And it's annoying me to no end that was just a very depressing, like, of all the people to lose, he was one of the most indispensable, and we lost him. And it bothers me even more than Brees, even though Brees is also a huge,
Yeah.
huge loss. AVT is on the line, and we have all these injuries on the line, and the line is, it's the root cause of success or failure in both the run and pass game to a large extent. So all those things combined really were why, I think. And so I don't think LaFleur came into the game plan going, I'm going to go 70-30 pass to run. It just worked out that way. And
Yeah.
ultimately you want balance, and everybody wants balance. And even LaFleur talked about balance in his pressers and stuff. You want that if you can get it, but sometimes the game situation doesn't allow it to happen.
Yeah, and that's a very nice answer. I like how you architected that. My architectural design major friend. I think that there's a case to be made for that as well. That, getting behind, at no point were we really behind, at the very end of throughout the game, no point were we really behind where to the degree where you thought like we have to pass the ball, unless we went into panic mode, especially when your quarterback is looking like he can't see the field. He was struggling.
But I will tell you this, one thing that does annoy me about LaFleur, it's a nitpick. 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. What are we doing? Run the ball, LaFleur. That's a place. Bring in an extra, go 13 personnel. What is Jeremy Ruckert doing? Collecting dust on the sideline? Bring in Jeremy Ruckert. Let him block somebody. Bring in Mike Remmers as a tackle eligible. And let's just bludgeon them and run it so many times. And he won't even try it.
No.
If
And he
try it
does.
once, it doesn't work. Okay, we can't get the push. All right, but he doesn't even try.
Yeah, he does empty backfield more than half of the time. More than half of. So that tells the defense like there's not even a chance. You don't have you don't even have to consider run. You don't even have to think about it.
And then it doesn't work either. It's like, and if it worked, you'd go, all right, he fooled them. Good job, LaFleur. You fooled them. But it doesn't work, and it's like, that's the part. That's one of those things where I wish you would.
It bothers me. It bothers me too. And look, you got to remember, armchair quarterbacking is different than live in the game, management. We understand that. But when we're watching what we're watching and we can see what we're seeing and we're calling for, and what's, the exact opposite is happening and it's not working. This is the thing with being a fan. Fans catch a lot of flack for this. It's like, well, we don't really know what's going on. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The shit we've been saying for 40 years was actually closer to being what would have worked than what we've been watching for 40 years. So, hey, make us wrong, huh? Make me wrong for God's sakes. So it's an interesting thing. There was 1 3rd and 2 where he had numerous pre-snap motions. Like, what is this? That's 6 feet. That's it. You got to get 6 feet. Why are we got Berrios in motion and then, all this stuff going on. And it's like, you've overcomplicated a process where it's like, we just have to get 6 feet. You use your big uglies and you beat them. That's it. Or else you can't. And if you're gonna, if you establish that and then you start mixing it in and you play action and great. But how about we just start getting 3rd downs, huh? I think we're pretty low in that category, Frankie. Not too good. So, guys, what's up? This is the Thursday thick of it. That is Frankie. I am GreenBean. We are happy that you're here. Wat2K just popped in. The presidente of the Virginia Jets fan club. I got to spend some time with Wat2K this weekend. We'll bring him on. Hello, Wat2K. It's good to see you. Hey, buddy. So he's with us. Jeremy, our producer, is not with us tonight. He is doing something else. So let's wish Jeremy a good night, and then we'll move on. Guys, we try to run this podcast or stream or whatever it might be by your comments. That's what we try to do. We get to as many as we can. In the event you really want yours seen, you do a super chat. It's greatly appreciated. It helps the channel, and we will guarantee that comment gets seen and we answer your question. So there it is. All right, thank you, Wat2K. Very, very, very good. Yeah, me and Wat2K had a little, it's funny. Frankie, I went down to the Virginia Jets fan club last year for the Pats game, and we do a live on location thing. A really great group of people. This year I was able to bring my son, but last year I went there for the Pats game. I believe it was the 54-13. Really, really ugly. No fun game. Like, we were just talking about like politics and life after and it was like the game was so bad. So we went out there, went down there this week, and I thought, we're going to get it back. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be the one where we, kind of even it out with the Pats. I was so confident, Frank, and not like cocky, like looking past the game, like none of that stuff. I was like, this is the week that we go in there with brass knuckles and flatten our assaulter. What's the word I'm looking for? Oppressor. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take it. We flattened our oppressor. And I couldn't believe that my second time with the Virginia Jets fan club was, what they said to me? So two people walked up to me after the game and said, it could be argued that you are a bad luck charm. When you come here, I said, what's funny about that is I was thinking the same thing about you guys. Maybe I shouldn't hang out. I should have just stayed in my house, wore my lucky jersey, ate my lucky chips. It's a funny thing, man. But anyway, we'll bring Watsu on in a little while for some trivia and all that. Now, right, Billy SBC says Houston doesn't know they're supposed to lose. Well, dude, this isn't even Houston. Look at those uniforms. Who the hell is that? This is the Falcons.
I mean, those helmets are fire, though.
I really do like them. I really do. Now, we saw our helmets this week, Frankie. We saw our alternate helmets. It was the black helmet with the green logo, and we broke protocol. Our win streak, we had white jerseys, black pants, and this week we decided to go all black, and we wore the black jerseys, and many people, myself included, think that was a big, big, big mistake. If we just went with the white jerseys, we would have definitely helped the cause. Some people don't buy into that. I do. But I think when you compare alternate uniforms, I really think the Jets are okay. We were looking for something else, but the Texans are really nice. The Cardinals is really nice. And I think the best of the bunch, Frankie, has got to be the Bengals, in my opinion. The white Bengal tiger.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but our problem comes down to our stupid logo, which I don't want to get into that argument.
It has a plane, a jet. I swear it's there. Yeah, but I mean, I still think they looked cool. They do. It's a cool look, especially for like one or two games a year. I wouldn't want to see them transition to that. But the good news with our alternate helmets is they can pick a new one every year, which is fun. And I think that they probably should for next year. Give us that damn 80s logo. Woody, come on already. Yeah. So let's get to Chaser's super chat, Frankie. And then I want to talk about Quinnen Williams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner. I want to get into these guys. We got a nice little batch of youngies, Frankie. We got some good stuff to chew on. But Chaser is how it's said, I think. Thank you for the super chat. He says, second play of the Pats game, simple play, bad feet, bad read. Zach looks lazy or unprepared. Can't blame that on the floor or this on the floor. Now, I'll admit, I can't I don't know which play that is, the second play of the game. Frankie, do you happen to recall?
I was trying to recall, but I think because the Mims play, I think, was the third play of the game, and that one stood out more in my mind because now I will say Zach's not lazy and he's not unprepared. He's just not playing well. So I don't agree with any of those. But if you look at the Mims play, which I do remember very clearly for obvious reasons, we had a touchdown. That play was a touchdown. It was a touchdown. Now Zach saw that he was open, so that's a good thing, and threw it to him. That's a good thing. But the two mistakes he made, he didn't throw it out in front of him, which if he did was a touchdown, and the stadium might have been torn to the ground.
It might have exploded.
It might have exploded if we had a 70-yard touchdown to Denzel Mims against the Patriots on a bomb from Zach Wilson. The stadium might not be standing anymore. So he decides not to do that. That's a mistake. He goes for the back shoulder. Okay, maybe we get the first down. Not bad. Not a terrible idea. But then he throws it out of bounds, which is not where you want to throw that. And Mims catches it anyway, by the way. Great play by Mims, but he made multiple mistakes. multiple mistakes by Zach on that one play. And that exemplifies what's going on with Zach. He just keeps making these same mistakes. He's not lazy. He's not unprepared. He's just a young kid not playing well right now. And that's another example. Is that the worst throw in the history of the NFL? No. But it's an example. We had a touchdown. It's clear on the tape. You see it. Mims got him beat. And all he has to do is throw it out in front of him, and it's 6 points. I mean, but then you want to go for the back fade? Okay, great. Well, throw it in bounds. How about?
Yeah.
So
we're right. There was a couple ways that could have went and still we would have been happy with it.
Right.
But look, I mean, the only silver lining on that particular one is, can you see the talent of this young kid? Can you see his talent? Yeah. So, look, and Chazer, while I can't recall the exact play, I think your point is valid, though. And, look, it goes back and forth, right? Like, we have game plan concerns and issues, and some people agree and some don't. But I have game plan issues. But at no time do they remove what I saw from Zach. And you're saying lazy or unprepared. You know what I saw, Chazer? I saw tentative. I saw hesitant. And I saw fear. Like that, like when you see a guy and he's running around, number one, anytime he escapes, which is magical that he can, he runs backwards, which is, I've never seen it in my life before, especially so consistently, right? Like once, okay, shit happens. There would be, whole seasons where your quarterback does that twice, runs backward. Zach does it, I don't know, 7-8 times a game. I mean, it's really, I think it's going to kill me, quite frankly, Chazer. I don't like it. It makes me feel terrible inside. I don't like it. It's very bad
habit.
But you see it, Frankie. He has space in front of him. There are numerous plays. There was one that Nania put on Twitter, just one example, and you see it. There's like literally 10 yards before anybody could even begin to get to him. He has 10 free yards, and he just keeps running around. And he won't.
And it was 4th and 5, and it's 4th and 5. Like, Zach, just take what they're giving you.
Take it. And on top of that, their Achilles heel has been quarterbacks, just tearing them up. So they're doing what they do. And so Zach can't take it. But in the same respect, and why I do believe it's fear, and not only like, hey, they're guiding him, they're telling him, don't run. You know what I mean? Maybe they're doing that because they're afraid of his knee and all. I'll buy that's in the conversation. But why I think it's actually fear is he's doing the same thing with his wide receivers. Like, we have to remember, like, it's very rare that wide receivers get open. Like, that doesn't happen as much as you think it does. Open is a step a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And there were numerous times that our wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, they had the step. And you can see it. And Zach, he just won't pull it. It's like he needs them to be clearly open, or he doesn't trust that he's able to get it in front of him. He's going to throw it behind him like he's been doing. And I'm not trying to pretend that I know everything that's really going on, Chazer. But what I can say is that I do think, whatever the source is, I don't know, that Zach right now is playing nervous. He's playing scared. And we can't win like that. And like you say, if it's unprepared, if it's lazy, which I struggle to get there, that Zach's lazy. I don't see that, but I do, no matter which one of what we're saying it is, it's a problem. It's a problem. Now going into Buffalo, damn, I wish it was anyone else. You know what I mean? Anyone else,
Yeah.
Rousseau and, oh my God, Von
Miller.
Frankie, I saw Salah's press conference, and I forget who it was, but they said, so what do you think about Von Miller? And they added Von. But what the fuck kind of question is that? Like, what do you think he thinks? Von Miller was added to the Buffalo Bills, and he's tearing it up. I think that sucks, man. That's what it does. You know what I mean? He's like, well, he's a very good player. He has to do the whole thing. That's a dumb question. In my opinion. Well, ask something legit. Of course, Salah hates that Von Miller's coming to town this week. All right. And he's attached to that defense. You know what I mean? He's not the only guy to worry about. So it's just, I mean, this is going to be an interesting one. My hope is that Zach Wilson, just when the going gets tough, he just rises. And It's possible because Wilson's got all the talent in the world, man. He really, really does. He's got it all. The only thing I'm seeing is he's tentative and hesitant, and he's playing scared, running backwards, dude. I mean, I've never seen anything that epitomizes the word fear more than running backwards. You know what I mean? Remember the one he's running around the end zone? It's like
so scary. I was like, what are we doing?
Scary, frightening.
What are we doing?
We're
That's
all
why
yelling,
I said last week.
No, it does anything. Throw it.
Like
Get rid of it.
In practice, they should put like a fence behind the pocket.
Yeah.
Be like, you are not allowed to go here.
Frankie, we talked about that. This is literally last week. We said the same thing.
That's what's frustrating about it. He's still a one-read Ronnie. Like, this is the thing I think he is. I think he's a one-read Ronnie right now.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, if somebody's looking for a ray of hope, I did research this. Are there examples in the last few years of quarterbacks who are one read Ronnies, if their first read isn't open, they panic and freak out.
Yeah.
And what happened to them? Well, they said the same thing about Justin Herbert. He turned out okay. They said the same thing about Patrick Mahomes. They said the same thing about Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. So there's a number of examples recently of quarterbacks who are performing well now, or who are in Zach's class and are performing around the same poor level. So none of them have really broken out, those one-read Ronnies, just yet. And so there's some hope that, even Patrick Mahomes, here's something that really surprised me. Patrick Mahomes said in his first year, he couldn't even call out the mic.
Really?
Now those in the chat know what the mic is, right? I'm going to assume if you're in the chat here, this is the...
You know what, though? You
Thursday
can go ahead. There's some people. We might as well.
This is the Intelligent Gripe Thursday thing. But I know people in this chat know from an offensive perspective what calling out the mic means. But in case you don't, that's
so funny.
That's the player that the offense is keying off of on that particular play. It could be the Mike linebacker. It could not necessarily be.
Yeah, a lot of the time it is, though.
But a lot of the time it is. But, if it was always the middle linebacker, you wouldn't need to call it out, right? So they're calling it out so that the entire offense knows who to. And if that guy lines up on the left hash, they do this. If he lines up in the middle, they do that. If he lines up on the right, they do something else. So it's the key player on that play. And Patrick Mahomes said, I couldn't even do that my first year. And you remember he sat all of his first year except the last game. And then he said, and I couldn't even read a defense really until halfway through my second year. So because I've been wondering about Zach, like, when is it going to get better? Because we didn't see it get better. It got a little better last year toward the end. Okay. And we were expecting much better, this year. It's only been 5 games, but we were expecting to see some progress there, and we haven't. So I started worrying about it and saying, well, when is it going to get better? How long does it take? Because I'm hoping it's not a Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith situation where Matthew Stafford didn't really get to be great until like age 27. We don't have that kind of time. And, Geno Smith, we'll look at what Geno Smith's doing this year, but he's 31 years old. It took him quite a while.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Some Jets fans are saying, you see, Geno. I'm like, dude, that's 9 years ago.
I know.
You going to wait 9 years? You don't even want to wait 3 weeks for Zach. Oh, it's funny.
So there's some hope. There's a ray of hope because I've been worried about this. Because if he's just a one-read Ronnie and it's one read and bail, then then Saleh said, well, he's just got to get his swing like a golfer or a hitter in baseball. You just got to get his swing down. And when he does, he'll be good. He used that analogy. And I said, well, but it's a mental thing. It's not like mechanical. So what is this swing? Well, the swing is the mental clicking. We were hoping it would have clicked already, but it hasn't. But I still think with those examples, it took those guys a year and a half, 2 years, some even 3. Tua took 3, Josh Allen, it took 3, take some people 3. So I think there's hope in that it's not, it's not good right now, but there's hope that it's going to click in at some point. It's going to get very frustrating waiting for that. It could anyway.
Well, and so I look, and there's lots of that, you know what I mean? There's very, very legitimate, right? There's a lot of that stuff to consider. One of the issues for us in particular is that we just did this with Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? We waited.
Yeah.
We saw the same things. We saw the back foot. We saw him leaving the pocket early. We saw happy feet. We saw all this stuff. And it didn't work. And we ended up bailing and starting over. So I think what Jets fans, most, I mean, there are Zach haters, right? We know that. There are people that they're loving it. They said it before the draft. I fucking hate them. And there are those, but that's few and far between, in my opinion. I think most Jets fans are just hoping this kid can play ball. That's it. Even if he's just a slightly above average quarterback, man, don't make mistakes. If you get let's say, 18 touchdowns and 5 picks a year, that's enough for some Jets fans, But like you said, we're looking for progress, right? And that's like last year, my saving grace for the whole last season was we had rookie this, rookie that, head coach, blah, blah, blah. And we saw progress. We saw a defense kind of settle down. We saw a quarterback who stopped throwing picks. We saw it even amongst all the injuries. So This year, it's like we have such a strong young team. And you never know. Even though it's a young team and it's built to be here for a few years, you never know. This year looks like we actually might have a shot to make some noise, get into the dance and have a shot. And you just never know. There were, look, when after 98 and 99, we were the number 1 team in the NFL. We were picked by everybody to get to and win the Super Bowl. That ended week 1. Week 1, we were out. You know what I mean? Vinny broke, tore his Achilles. We have Tom Tupa, the punter, playing quarterback. Then we had Rick Meyer, and it's crazy. And it can fall. Look, 2010 AFC Championship game, 2011, 8-8, not even in the playoffs. Santonio Holmes fighting with his teammates in the huddle, right there. I have a picture of it. My son's first game. You guys can't see it there. Oh no, Frankie. I got to stop. I can't. I don't know what it is tonight. I can't move. If I move it, now what happens on your end? Can you still see me?
Yeah, there's nothing bad. It was just continued.
Oh, on my end, everything, all the things, the TVs are blinking. All right, good. I'm glad it's you guys why is he yelling no? Good. But yeah, we're here. It's fun. So anyway, my son, look, 2010, 2009, 2010, and then 2011, and it's over for 12 years. You see what I mean? So I think that's the concern. That's where some of the impatience comes from. Number one, we did it with Sam Darnold, right? And number 2, when we're not seeing the progress. Look, the team won those games. Zach wasn't making mistakes, but we won, in spite of him. Yeah. And in some respects, man, it's true. Breece Hall, the defense, all that sauce, whatever. And so anyway, I think that's where a lot of the concern comes from with Zach. And look, I'm not saying I'm one who believes he should get the whole year. At least you don't even consider starting over. But if he has 3 or 4 games and he's completely lost 3-4 picks a game, dude, you cannot sacrifice everyone's season, because then they all lose faith. And then we've eroded the entirety of the thing we've built. So I don't know. It's concerning. Iowa Jets fan checking in with a little jokey poo. He says, did you give Lovey, meaning Lovey Smith, the okay to be you for Halloween? Well, I have actually. I have rights on white beards, copywritten white beard, and Lovey, who is clearly biting off of me right now. He called and asked. There's a certain monetary arrangement that we made. Something like I owe him money. I don't know how it went. But anyway, thank you, Iowa, for making the connection. It's good. It's good to joke. And Lovey looks good, I think, don't he? I like these guys with the fluffy white beards. I think it's about time that we've embraced aging gracefully. That's what I think. Right? Why not? Unlike Madonna. Madonna is doing some weird stuff. I don't know if you've seen Madonna lately, guys.
No.
It's not okay. I mean, she's going to be whatever, right? She's successful. Ain't nobody around her telling her she looks bad. They all love it. Oh, you look great. That's what she has. But I don't know. It doesn't look like Madonna anymore. So that is me. I'm going to try to look like myself the whole time, Frankie. We'll see. We'll see if I need to tuck. If I get real famous, maybe I'll pull my face back like this, Frankie. They'll be like, "Oh, I look great. How do I look? I look great, GreenBean. Yeah, this is what you should have did." So anyway, that's Zach Wilson. So Red John, the last piece the Jets need to take the defense to number one is a run-stuffing defensive tackle, a la Haloti Nagata, Vince Wilfork, and my fave, Chris Jenkins. Where's Linval? Well, I tell you what, I think that would be amazing to have. It's funny. The last couple drafts, like when they were talking about the teams that did need a defensive tackle, it'd be Derek Brown or whoever it was. I was thinking, no way would I want it, because we had so many drafts where defensive tackle or defensive lineman, but ended up playing on the inside in the 3-4, whatever it might, or 4-3, whatever it might have been. We were done. At least me, I was done with the idea of using top picks for a defensive tackle. Now I have to say, I'm still there. And I definitely don't want to, divulge or devolve, I should say, into a draft conversation, right? I don't want to do that. But one thing I can say is I think that is something we'll be bringing in next year. I do think that's a weakness on this team. And having guys like Nathan Shepard, who had a play last week, I think he almost had a sack, Frankie. Really, really good. Really, he had a play.
He did something.
Yeah, he did something really good too. But Nathan, I think the Nathan Shepards, the Solomon Thomas of the world, I think they're going to probably be gone, and we will upgrade that position. It's funny because we look at the linebackers and the safeties. I think free safety could still be considered a weakness, even though we've gotten some good play out of our free safety position. I think it could still be considered, but I think this defense is really strong. And I got to admit, even in the linebacker position, adding Quan was obviously a very, very strong move, but Quincy Williams, who still has his warts, right? He's only 24 though, I think. So he can still get better. He can still grow and develop, man. But boy, oh boy, is his presence noticed. You know what I mean? Like, he is a heat-seeking missile, man. And he's not getting burned quite as much as he was. At least it's not noticeable. So maybe they're disguising it or what have you. But yeah, man, I don't really know where. I mean, I think this defense, the biggest weakness is that we're so young. I mean, I think as we get better and really become good and gelled as a unit, and boy, dude, this could be the best defense in the NFL if everybody stays healthy. And I mean that and I'm not just, that's not homerism. Like, I honestly believe that this defensive line is legit. We had that run stuffer. And then, like, I don't know, a free safety, like a really good, Ed Reed type of a free safety running around back there. I don't know, Frankie. What do you think? You think we're one player away from like top notch, or do you like where we are now? What do you think of our D?
Well, both things. We can improve, but here's the reality. We're allowing 3.8 yards per rush in the league. That's second in the league. So we have, if you want to look at it that way, 3.8 yards per rush attempt. That's second in the league. How much better do you want us to be? Second
Obviously,
of all,
first,
hello, right? But the other thing is that two out of the three players that Red John mentions are out of the 3-4 alignment. We run a 4-3, so that doesn't apply to us. We run 3 techs. These are 0 techs. But the other thing is, I do think though that we can still stand some improvement. Like, we should improve over Solly Thomas and Nathan Shepard. I'll give you 2 names I'm looking at. They're free agents. Deron Payne from the Washington Commanders and Poona Ford from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, those guys would be big improvements over the 2 we got and would really make us strong all the way through the front 8, the D-line 8 or 9 or 10, however many we're running out there these days. But that would be, then they're both upcoming free agents if the teams let them get to free agency, that is. So those are 2 people I'm looking at from the free agent market, because, I really don't, if we were going to be picking in the top half of the first round, there's a couple of interesting kids, one from Clemson, and there's a couple others. But I think those 2 would be big improvements over Solly and Nathan. And then the front, the D line is pretty well set. We probably just need one more linebacker. We probably draft one, and that's really, then in the back end, all we got to do is think about free safety, really, and maybe a long-term replacement for Whitehead or something. But what do we do with LaMarcus Joyner? That would be a better question. I might sign him to a small deal to maybe be the backup and emergency starter, and then try to sign somebody like Jesse Bates. Now, if we sign Jesse Bates, he's going to want a lot of money. But if we sign Jesse Bates, Deron Payne, and Poona Ford and drafted a linebacker early, like second round, third round, I mean, that's a defense. That's especially if the linebacker we draft is sort of a weak side coverage, fast line type linebacker,
Right.
Got to figure out what we're doing with Jay Mosley, but I mean, that's what I would look at. So I wouldn't look at their techs like Will Fork and Jenkins. I would look at the 3 techs who are on teams, like ours, like Washington and Seattle. And who's becoming a free agent? Well, just so happens 2 of them look like they could be agents, and they would be perfect targets for me, for GM Frankie.
Yeah. Look, and that's the thing. It's like, we have a good young team, guys. I mean, that's the honest truth of it. And, we haven't been able to say that for a long time. And I think that, again, that's where some of the frustration comes from. It's like, we're not used to seeing good play here. We've had our hopes, and Greg Williams was able to get a subpar group to play really, really well. He was top 5 for a while, and then they stayed up there in rushing defense. So it's really exciting for us to see this team. And when you have a glaring weakness, it's tough to just endure for the sake of progress and development and all that. It's tough. I get it, but I still want to just say I do believe this defense and this team. We're going to watch these young players for years. Now, Elijah Moore is a big disappointment, right? Obviously, we thought he was part of it. But I know whatever's wrong with him. I mean, he's the shit that he posts on Instagram. It's just weird at this point. I think he's just kind of, he's just backed himself into a box, and that is what it is. You know what I mean? The Jets will just, use him or not. And at the end of the year, I think they'll reevaluate and probably use him as a draft day trade or something like that. I think it would still behoove us to, maybe get him some good games so his value's up. You can really remind people of how effective he can be, but it's unfortunate. And I think for the most part, we're going to see these guys, the if we pay them, the Garretts, the Sauces, the DJ Reeds, we have a lot of these young guys. And I think we're going to have them for a while, which is very, very exciting, man. Let's get to another one down here. I saw one from, holy shit, look at all these. There it is. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Thank you for the super chat. Says, I will be at MetLife. There will be way too many Bills fans there. Right. Fook this, pack it out. Jets fans, get loud, win this game and kick these clowns out. You know what, Kevin? You are so right, buddy. And it sucks to say it. I think last week there was a lot of Patriots fans there, but it was clearly our house. It was clearly our house. And it's sad that the wind kind of got taken out. I was told by numerous people, like the first half was legitimately, the energy was good. It was legitimately loud. And I've said this before, MetLife is a weird stadium. It's actually difficult to get loud. It's like spread out. It's like a wide cone as opposed to kind of being built to contain itself. It just isn't, where Giant Stadium was. MetLife is not. And it's a difficult place to get loud in. Just to start with, but it was loud. And that, look, the Jets, Zach Wilson's interceptions and the penalty just kind of stole the joy. But the thing is, this week, I just need to tell everybody, and all you Jets fans, season ticket holders that sold your tickets because you made $30 extra a ticket, it sucks. And I have no right to say anything because I don't go to the games, right? No, I would if I was up there. I went to every single game for many years when I was up there. I haven't lived up there since the end of 2005. So it's been a while for me. But I wish, Kevin, I wish Jets fans would just keep their damn tickets, and there used to always be a section of the OA fans. Remember, it was 332, section 332. They would stick all those fans from the other team in one section. They'd be real loud, and but that was it. And then there'd be a sprinkling, but it was our house. Now, dude, just brace yourselves for everybody going. It's going to be Bills heavy. They're a winning team. Bills Mafia is a legitimately energetic and passionate fan base. They didn't always travel well. Like when they sucked, there was no, intense Bills presence. They were there, but it wasn't like it's going to be now. Now that they're winning, I mean, it's just going to, and look, you got the bandwagon. All of a sudden, there's all these Buffalo fans where for years you never saw one. They didn't exist, It was like you saw one a year. But just brace yourself. So I think if you're teetering on going to the game, Jets fans, every single one of you that can get there, join Kevin, because we need it. And hey, man, you just never know. It's a division game. Zach, hey, who knows? He settles. I mean, we have a team, guys. We have a team. The weapons are there. The defense is there. The special teams are there. I do think Buffalo is a better team. But, dude, you just never know. And if we get there and we're loud and proud, maybe it can boost them. I don't know, Frankie. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Kevin's right. Right.
I mean, I don't know. I got nothing to say about that other than it does. Somebody said our friend, Fireman Ed, his timing's off on the Jets chant.
I saw that. Well, this is what we've been saying a long time. They have the two guys on screen. It's like... Now, this might not be exact because I think I heard it on I think it was Cool Your Jets. Is that where you heard it?
Probably.
They were talking about it a little bit, that his timing was off. He was like doing it slower than usual.
Right? Yeah.
Which is weird. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he's pretty good at it, by now. He's been doing it for but the weird thing, Frankie, and they started this with MetLife, like they have Jetman. He's a guy with all beads, and I have no quarrel with Jetman. You know what I mean? But he doesn't have the same punch as Fireman Ed. It's just he's just kind of there. He wears like green spandex, like a bodysuit and a bunch of beads, and he wears sunglasses. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? He is what. But why have two guys doing something that you're trying to unify 80,000 people? It can only add confusion. You know what I mean? There's nothing beneficial to it. And I've often said that, like, I think some people are going with Jetman, and Jetman's looking at Fireman Ed. He's trying to link up with him. In my opinion, it looks like that. But I don't know. It's weird. And let's see. Maybe Fireman Ed had a little cold or something. Who knows? But either way, the Jets chant at MetLife has never been the same, in my opinion. It's still there. It's still good. But two guys on screen. There was one game. There were three guys on screen. I mean, who the hell's who's this? Why do you have three guys and one of them's not named GreenBean? What the hell is going on in there?
But the Jets could do a better job of organizing it. Like they should get those prominent fans together and just get it organized. Like say, listen, Jetman, Fireman Ed, and whoever the third guy is, you guys are the key people. Let's coordinate this. Like let's get it down. We need to do something to make the stadium, rocking. I don't know.
Agreed. I know it's important. Like they're talking about lighting fireworks, so we all know what time to go in. So we're in there early, so we all are, loud from the first, tick. And that's great. Okay, you're doing all that. How about you sit Fireman Ed and Jetman down and say, "Hey, Jetman, it's Fireman Ed's job. Get the fuck out of here." You know what I mean? That's what they should say. Or
you're in support.
Maybe you just we just put you on the screen and you just clap. Like let him. You need one guy doing the thing. It's the weirdest thing, Frankie. It's bizarre, brother. It really is.
The Jets should do something, even if they need to do something with the legends a little bit more, give them more game day responsibilities. We got to get this stadium organized the best we can. It's not a good situation apparently at the stadium, but we got to do better if we can. And I think the Jets should get a handle on it.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, hopefully you guys are loud. Hopefully whoever goes, if there's 10 of you, hopefully you get to watch a really good game and stealing a victory. That would be nothing would boost this fan base and the team more than stealing a game from Buffalo going into the bye. Coming out of the bye with a win in Buff, dude, we would lump the Patriots up, in my opinion. But anywho, Indy Colt 777 checking in. Thank you, buddy. He says, Green, let's talk Jets talk about mental health. Apologize if you have told your story before, but for newbies, can you share your personal story and Jets fandom? Really like your channel, sir. Well, let me say this, Indy Colt. I think that would probably derail. It's a whole thing. I appreciate your interest in this story, and I'll touch on it for you. But it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So I like to do that stuff like when I do the After Hours Jets Fest. a lot of the time we kind of veer off into personal stuff and we talk and all that kind of shit. But it would definitely take the rest of the show and it'd be an addiction form. I'll just tell you, if you don't know, guys, I am in recovery. I was a homeless heroin crack addict, for many years, alcoholic, so yeah, I was a troublesome fella. I struggled to keep my life together. And at the very end, I was in jail a lot, never prison, thankfully, but county jails, local jails, driving on, with no license, getting beat up in the project, stuff like that. Get my head split open, stuff like that. But thankfully, I hit a telephone pole with a truck, and that ended up saving my life. I destroyed the truck, the telephone pole, and I walked out of it, and I got sent to a rehab in the end of 2005, and it saved my life, bro. So I've been, I just celebrated in July 12 years without a drink or a heroin or a crack or a joint or a meth or gambling. I haven't gambled in like 16 years, Frankie. So thank you, Indy Colt. And look, mental health is near and dear to my heart, man. And even though I might joke about, to a degree, like Elijah Moore, whatever, the truth is that it's very, very important to me. And I do a lot for it. My whole career was built around it. So yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's about it for tonight on that one. So let's see. So Frankie, let's talk about this. We got some good news. Yeah, thank you, Green Beans Burner. He's proud of me. Everybody's proud. Yeah, cheer. Thank you, Mark. All right. Yeah, King Blaze, you guys are the shit. See, you can thank Indie Cult. Glad you worked out your shit. Yeah, me too. So is my family. They didn't let me in their house, man. Nobody wanted me in their house. Believe me. They were like, oh, here he comes. Like, what do you want? What does he want? He's not here to bring joy. I'll tell you that. He's here to take shit. He's here to get something. That was me. That was all I was. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it. Hank and John, everybody. Yeah. 12 years, so let's see if I make it to 13, huh? Let's see if I can do this rest of this year without slurping down some Jack Daniels, Frank. So anyway, yeah, guys, look, let's talk about this. The season is 8 weeks old, and somehow a team that has been just unable to find a first round pick that could stick or have any impact. Now, far be it for us to find 4th, 6th, 7th round picks that could do anything. Somehow, the last 2 years, the Jets found a way to have 5 rookie of the weeks last year. 5, 3 players, 5 weeks. This year, there have only been 2 weeks, Frankie, that a New York Jets rookie has not won the award. Now, to be clear, we know Jets fans are responsible for this. At the same time, we have to have somebody to vote for. So they're the ones putting Jets up there. And the fact that they're even nominated each week shows you that the team that our general manager is building, is putting together, the young guys are having good enough weeks every week that they can at least be in the conversation, and then we take it from there. But Frankie, what do you think of this? Garrett Wilson now won his second. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Breece Hall. The only first-round guy, I think, is Jermaine Johnson. I mean, he's been injured, but he was having himself a good year, too. What do you think of this madness? Do you think it'll continue, Frankie? I mean, it's still exciting, no matter how you look at it. We got a good young crop of rookies. What do you think of this one?
Well, in AVT the year before, and then Zach. So you got to hope Zach works out, of course, but
right.
But AVT the year before, and and Michael Carter and Elijah. So I think this pairing of Joe Douglas and the staff of Robert Saleh is working out. I mean, I think one thing we could be happy about, look at the defense. The defense started out poorly, and we were all calling for Ulbricht's head. Well, now we got a top 10 defense by all accounts. Any way you measure it, it's top 10, at least at the moment. So, I mean, you got to be happy with that. And that tells you maybe these coaches know what they're doing to some extent, and that's what we were worried about. And then when you think about Joe Douglas's staff and all the scouts and all of the, people that he has on, and that's why I'm upset about Alonzo Dotson, by the way. Still one of our better scouts. They gave him a rate.
Yeah.
They gave him a promotion, but still, why couldn't
Those guys
we
are important, right? You're right, though, Frank. And we both made videos about that when it happened.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. Me and you were both like, no.
This is important. Who? What? We got scouts. So anyway, so the scouting staff combined with the solid coaches and their philosophy and the players they want seems to be working. It seems to be working out pretty good. Even a guy like Max Mitchell, before he got hurt, was surprising everyone with what he was doing. And Michael Clemens has been a contributor as well. So we got to just continue with it. If you think about it, one more. Everybody comes back. If AVT and Bryce come back and are what they used to be, and one more round at this, Zach has to get better. Everybody understands that. That's been, as long as he gets better and can be even an average quarterback, if you figure one more round of free agents and one more draft, the team's got to be pretty strong. I was looking at a draft tech mock draft today for us. They got us taking a tackle. They got us taking a safety. They got us taking a couple of linebackers. And you think about it, if we sign a few free agents like Deron Payne or Poona Ford and some people like that, the team's going to be pretty strong. Look at Davis Mills going off.
I'm telling you, I distracted him. I was like, I thought he dropped it, but that's another touchdown. And it's just crazy. Like, Davis Mills can fucking throw these passes, man. You know what I mean? Like,
Mills,
what?
Mills, he doesn't do anything to knock your socks off, but he does the simple things.
That's all I want. It's just crazy.
If Zach could just do the simple things,
yeah,
I would take it.
It's really all I want. Now, look, if Zach can do that, Frankie,
that's no way. I think he dropped it.
No, yeah, that's what I thought too, but he didn't. If Zach can pull together and hit the intermediates, like from screen to 15 yards, if he can do that, we might have one of the greatest quarterbacks in our history here.
Yeah, because he doesn't need to do that much. And plus, with the defense and special teams we have, really, it's just a matter of keep moving the chains, let the running game carry you, and just take what the defense gives you. If it's a check down, it's a check down. If it's whatever it is, just hit it. But it's easier said than done, of course. That's why the other thing to keep reminded of, about half the league every year is not happy with their quarterback situation. So it's hard to find these guys for whatever the reason. It's not an easy thing to do. It's easy for us to say, watching on TV. It's not so easy to do. Otherwise, every team would have a great quarterback, and they don't. So.
Yeah. And I look, man, it's just, this is the shit that bothers me, it's like, and just to, I'll digress for a brief moment. You guys remember I was talking about taking that trade for the second overall pick, getting the 3 first-round picks, because I liked a lot of them. I liked Zach Wilson. I liked Trevor Lawrence. I thought he was the best, but I liked Kyle Trask. I liked Mac Jones a little bit. I liked Kellen Mond. Now, admittedly, Davis Mills wasn't, I just didn't get that far down the line. I just didn't, but that's my thought. It's like, is one of these guys really worth the second overall pick when you look at the 3 first-round picks and the third that the Niners gave up? Look, and wouldn't you be happy with Davis Mills? And 3 first-round picks, so, and that it is what it is. I'm not unhappy.
On the other hand, you could have wound up with Kellen Mond. And so it's a roll of the dice, and Mond is on some practice squad somewhere. So, it's like the Vikings, and then they released him.
They cut everybody though, but they cut their whole damn draft. What's going on up there, Frankie?
Well, it's like it's like I always say in that draft, you could have ended up with Josh Rosen, or you could have ended up with Josh Allen, and those are 2 extremely different outcomes. And I think Rosen was even taken before Allen, if I remember correctly.
He was.
So,
but the only difference is one's a second overall pick and one's a third. That's the difference. That's the difference. Like, if you're going to risk it, and look, most of the time, like being for real here, most of the time the guy up top's got a better shot, right? We're not going to say otherwise. We know that. But it's just one of those things. I just wish, like Dallas, no matter who they pick in the 3rd round, 5th round, it just ends up being a great quarterback. It doesn't matter who the coach is. What is that? How can they do that? Jerry Jones just knows quarterbacks. Dak, look, they had Tony Romo. He was an undrafted free agent. Then he gets replaced by Dak Prescott. He was a third-round pick. Then you got this new guy. What's his name again?
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. What was he? He was like a fifth, wasn't he?
Cooper Rush drafted, I believe.
Undrafted. Look at that. And all these guys. All we need is Cooper Rush. That's it. The little guy that can hit these little passes. Anyway, I still have hope for Zach, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Wait, Indy Colts back. Now, Indy, let me ask you, are you on a show that I've been on before? Maybe
GreenBean goes around to other shows. Unlike GreenBean actually goes on other people's shows.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm just trying to, figure out if I know you. I'd really appreciate it, man. Thank you for the second super chat. He says, thanks, GreenBean. You help more people than you know, unless they're playing the Colts. Of course.
Well, look at the Colts.
I mean, dude,
let's talk about the Colts. They're on their eighth quarterback now in 6 years. Every year they've had a new quarterback, and then this year they had Matt. Last year you thought Carson Wentz, with Reich, he's perfect. Nope. Not perfect. What happened there? He had good statistics. They couldn't wait to get him out of there. And then they get Matt Ryan. You think, okay, this is perfect. They got the offensive line. They got Jonathan Taylor. This is the perfect guy. And nope, he benched him.
Right.
Now we're going with Sam Ehlinger. We're not the only team that has problems in this area. I mean, the Chicago Bears have never, ever had a good quarterback, ever. Their whole franchise. Don't tell me about McMahon. Don't tell me about some guy from 1941. They've never had. I mean, Justin probably
Rex Grossman was pretty good for a minute there,
but he flamed out. They've never had one that could last. So not the only ones, but it's difficult. I mean, it's the most important and probably, I guess, the most difficult position to play in sports. Yeah, Y2K reminds me of Sid Luckman. Yeah, Sid Luckman doesn't count. Not when they, I think at that time the forward pass was outlawed. So that it doesn't count. But but so we're not the only ones. It's hard. You're playing, it looks easy on television, but when you have these monsters coming at you at 300 miles an hour and they weigh 300 pounds and they run 4.5 and you're about to get crunched, things are going very, very fast. And so, it's obvious because not everybody can do it. And think about draft. I mean, there's about 4 quarterbacks, I think, now in this draft that might be round picks. 4 out of all the schools in all the country. 4 guys. That's it. And then there's a bunch of second tier guys.
Yeah, I know. I just want I just want a fucking quarterback. That's all. I just want one. That's it. I just want one. I want to see the other teams. Yeah.
That's why you got patience with Zach and hope in year 3 the light comes on. Point this year, it happens. I mean, because remember what I said last week too, GreenBean. Half the Eagle fan wanted to get after last year. Get rid of this guy.
Oh, totally.
Half, 50% of the fan base that knows the team and is, is very familiar, watches all the games. And half of them, about 50-50, said, get rid of this bum. Look at it. And this is year 3. And now look what they're doing. So sometimes you do have to have patience, even though we want to have any patience. We want it right now.
Right. I know.
Gotta hope this kid figures it out. You gotta hope.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. I mean, and that's why, you listen to Saleh and, he says no, man, we're going to keep going. I mean, there's no question, but it's an interesting thing now, but let's take this and thank you again, Indy Colt. I sincerely appreciate it. And then I'll get to you next, Scuttlebottle, King Blaze, keep it simple. I saw that before Kiss. I knew what you were saying, King Blades. Keep it simple. But let's talk about this real quick. Going from Zach, we'll stay with the quarterback, though, Frankie. What did you make? And now with the ability to maybe use hindsight, the Jets decided to elevate Strebler, then make him inactive, right? No, but wait. Clearly, I just touched a nerve with Frank.
There's a mystery. No, because there's a mystery. All right,
but what? So then we demote Flacco.
Yeah.
and and promote Mike White to quarterback 2, then Saleh says that's the way it's going to be from here on out. But then Flacco does an interview and says, I was surprised, taken back. I didn't see that coming. So there's no conversation. There was just nothing going on. What could have led to it? There was the idea that maybe Flacco's getting traded. Then there was the idea maybe we're going to use Streveler in some packages. None of it happened. But nonetheless, quarterback shuffle-rooney happened, and they didn't even know it was coming. So what do you make of this? What could be the possible positives? Was there a negative that maybe an underlying negative that caused it? What is your take of the whole scenario, Streveler, White, Flacco?
Well, I think they have realized, okay, if Joe Flacco is not going to be here next year. So there's really we needed him to kind of guide the ship at the beginning of the year. Okay, keep it afloat. They saw what he offered. I think they realized he doesn't know how much White does at this point in time. I think they're surprised by that. He played surprisingly poorly those first 3 games, despite putting up, a lot of yards, as yards is not the good yardstick to measure. But I think they kind of, Flacco doesn't offer much value than White. He's not going to be here next year, I don't think. So this is just preparing for next year. Let's get White ready. Let him let him suit up for the games. And in the event that Zach gets hurt, let's take a look at Mike White, because they do have a decision to make on Mike White. I mean, they got to figure out what they're doing with him. Personally, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. If it were up to me, I'd probably sign another veteran, like a younger veteran, and then draft a guy in the 4th, 5th, a brainy guy. I like those brainy quarterbacks in the room. But I think that's basically it. Now, with Streveler, that's the mystery. This is the thing nobody understands. Streveler and Saleh had some thinking, but then they abandoned it. He said we had to make the decision by Saturday, 4 p.m. We were thinking about doing something, but I'm going to keep it a secret. It wouldn't tell us what it is. What was the secret Streveler plan? That's the noise. Is like, what's the Streveler plan? I'd like to know. But we don't know what it was. He didn't reveal it, and he's not going to reveal it, I guess. But they called him up. Well, they elevated him. And it doesn't cost you anything to elevate someone. You just hit him, and I guess he gets a little bit more money, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's if they keep them up there, right? It's a 1-week elevation. Doesn't necessarily.
If you elevate him, you got to get more money. It has to be different than being on the P squad. Even if you're inactive, you're still got elevated. I think you should still get money. But anyway,
like a bonus. Yeah, I honestly don't know. That'd be interesting. Or if there's maybe a minimum. Like if you are there for 3 weeks or something along those lines.
The Players Association, to agree to that, had to say, okay, if you elevate our guys, they got to get, $50,000 more, some small amount.
You got to give them just something small, $50,000-$60,000.
$50,000.
Little chump change.
Little extra pocket money.
That's right. $50,000.
So they elevate him. It doesn't cost you anything to elevate someone, though, other than, a little bit of money, I guess, maybe. So now he's back on the P squad. It's no harm, no foul, but I would like to know what the mysterious Streveler plan was before they abandoned it, and why did they abandon it? What made them say, we need to make a decision. All right, elevate him. We might do it. And then Sunday they came in and said, nah, we're not doing that. So I don't know. That's the thing that intrigues me the most. Like, what were they planning on doing, and why did they call it off? Maybe we'll learn in time. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't understand it. And again, what I'd like to see, because let me just say this, and Frankie, I want you to know you're getting a little glitchy. I checked my speed. It looks like it's not on my end. You're starting to just a little bit. You're starting to get a little glitchy. Just so you know, I don't know if there's anything you can do. If you can, rearrange the rabbit ears or the tinfoil. I don't know. But the thing is, this is what I am in fear of. Right. So we hear Denzel Mims wants a trade in the offseason. Right. We know why, but he does. Then we think everything is good. But then Elijah Moore comes out of nowhere and he hates it. He wants out. He's not getting this. He's not getting that, whatever it might be. And then you start so Joe Flacco gets demoted, but he didn't know it was coming. And I just wonder if there is reason to be concerned about, maybe the communication inside the building. Salah's known as a great communicator, but for Joe Flacco to say in an interview, I was surprised by it. It's like, at least there's, I don't know.
I couldn't care less about what Flacco says, to be honest with you. Who cares? He's
yeah,
Joe
but it
Flacco.
could be indicative of a great,
Flacco.
when you stack these together, though, for Frankie.
I'm not going to believe it.
No, you just, that's it. Okay, nothing. Non-issue.
I think Joe Flacco says shit all the time. He's Joe Flacco. I'm not going to put any stock into it. We know about the Denzel situation. We've been talking about it for 2 years, and Elijah Moore came out of nowhere and decided to be a head case. I'm personally connecting those events.
Okay, so Frankie says nothing to see here. No. I, on the other hand, am thinking. I'm one who reads between lines. I'm one who happens to be right a lot in this side of things. Not with my stats and shit. I'm wrong all the time over there. But on the creepy crawly side, I see things. Now, look, again, I hope there's nothing to it, obviously. And I hope that Frankie's right. Nothing to see here. Flacco's just a little sour. But again, I would like to believe that my organization is communicating when they are going to do things like that. Like, hey, here's what we're doing, rather than, hey, you're demoted.
What about this idea? They told him about it. They communicated, and he was surprised when they told him.
That's interesting, right? You know what's funny? As I was just speaking my last sentence, I thought about it. I'm like, I could have been surprised when they told him a month ago.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They told him this is the plan, and then the stupid reporter asked him the gotcha question, and dumb Joe Flacco falls into it.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. So, yeah, man, look, Scuttlebuttle's checking in, and he's kind of reiterating something that you said, which is interesting, and using Jalen Hurts as an example. Zach might just need a third year, and he's okay with that. But Scuttlebuttle, I think the question really is whether or not the organization feels like they can, if he's really not looking good, like not showing progress or not enough, let's say, whether or not they're willing to, tack, their careers onto him. It might be something that they have to consider, if he has progress and he has some really good games and he's just kind of looking like he's struggling with this, that, I think that he's definitely going to get a third year. I mean, I had said earlier this year, there's no scenario that I can envision that Zach's not the quarterback next year. I mean, I think he's going to be, but it would be interesting if Zach plays more games like that, because this last game makes the other games where he was just not making mistakes, it kind of makes them worse in a way, because he was kind of getting bailed out. You know what I mean? He was getting bailed out by defense, by Breece Hall and all that stuff. Outside of the Pittsburgh game, I thought he played really well in the Pittsburgh game. But anyway, I don't know. I think it would be nice to believe that Zach is going to just progress starting this week, man. I'd love to see him come out and just be fucking lights out. I would love it. But let's say he just progresses nicely. I think he's going to get his third year. Frankie, do you think there's a scenario where he doesn't get his third year? If he just plays like he did last week for 5-6 games, you think that they'll pull the plug?
No, I think they thought this was going to happen all along. I think this is why Salah's so relaxed about it. I think the idea was in year 2, we will surround this kid with so much talent that we can afford to watch him grow, because we'll have an amazing offensive line, which if they stayed healthy, we would have had a top 5 line. That's why they wanted to get Breece Hall so badly, because they knew they needed the home run hitter next to Michael Carter for the run game once they got the line. That's why they went and got the tight ends, so you could have security blankets, and drafted another one so you could have another security blanket and blockers, and we'll have an amazing defense, and we'll have Sauce Gardner, and all Zach needs to do is just keep it simple, and he'll grow and he'll make mistakes, but we'll be so good and so talent surrounded that we can withstand the growing pains. And I think that was the plan all along, because I think they thought it's going to take him to the third year. I think they thought that all along. This kid was young when he came out. He didn't have a ton of, he got hurt a couple of times at BYU, so he didn't have as many reps. And one of those years was a COVID year. He didn't have as many reps as somebody who, like a Kenny Pickett, who plays 5 years and comes out when he's 26 years old, and all those reps in college. So then I think they knew it was going to take him a while to develop pocket presence. I think they knew that. And that's why I think they're not sweating it now. Because I was wondering, why are you not sweating pocket presence? Because I went on YouTube, GreenBean. This is how crazy I am. And I looked for drills that quarterbacks. I wondered, there must be drills that quarterbacks do to make their pocket presence better, isn't there? And sure enough, there are a million of them.
Sure. Totally.
Of course there are. Like, duh. But I wanted to know. So why isn't, what is Zach doing with John Beck all this time? They should be doing pocket presence drills 5 hours a day, every day with John Beck in the offseason. But anyway, so the Jets are working on it with him, and I think they knew even doing that it was going to be a bit of a project. But if they could get a good running game, if they could protect him, if they could make it a first read situation a lot of the times by getting a guy like Garrett Wilson who's open all the time, and Elijah Moore, they thought a similar type player. And then they'd be all right, and they could, kind of win and make progress. And then, Wilson will eventually get it, just like all these other guys that we talked about, Tua and Jalen and even Mahomes, who took basically like a year and a half ish to really figure it out per his own analysis. And they thought, all right, if we do it that way, we know we're going to have to. This kid needs a lot of reps. And that's what Saleh said in the conference, time on task. And I was thinking, Coach, how much time on task do we have to wait for the kid to get it? Because I was really worried about it. And I think this was the idea. And then injuries killed us. I mean, the injuries ravaged this offensive line. Should have been so much. I mean,
yeah, right.
So
no, it's
a
fair point.
Now Brees is out, so there goes the home run hitter, and now we don't have our good run block, our best run blocker, ABT. So
it's tough. I mean, you look, even if the first wave of injuries was all that happened, we would still be a great O-line. We're
still average, by the way.
Right. I know it's really crazy. I forget the stat of how much Zach was pressured last week, but it'll surprise a lot of people. It's lower than you think. I mean, he does the running around stuff kind of almost independently of how well the offensive line played in some instances. It's interesting, man.
He's one read and bail. If the first read's there, he'll fire it, no problem. Got it. He's good at that. That's the 2.5 second thing. If it's not there, he has a problem, and that's troublesome. And so some of that pressure stuff is on him, but some of it's on the O-line, and sometimes it's hard to know. If there's a free rusher, by the way, a delayed linebacker rush, that's on the quarterback. I hope you guys know that. It's not on the O-line, because we can't know if that linebacker's coming. And if he does, and it's delayed, Zach has to get rid of it to your hot route. That's the idea with that. And he doesn't do that often enough.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, look, I think there's enough to complain about with the offensive line. And I mean, look, in week 8, we started our 5th offensive tackle, and we're working on with our 2nd offensive guard. So, I mean, this is serious, man. Like, we're hoping to be able to get, whether it's our 4th round pick, Max Mitchell, and or George Fant, back after the bye. But we don't know. I mean, if this team has done anything that's been wishy-washy, it's give us appropriate and correct assessments of injury return. They have not done a good job with that one, whether it be Zach. Oh, he's coming back for week 1. Hey, listen, by the way, it's going to be week 4, so stop asking me questions like, whoa, what about Becton last year? And so we don't know. We don't know when these guys are coming back. Now, the fact that Joe Douglas didn't make a trade at the trade deadline could leave me thinking that maybe they feel pretty good about at least one of them returning. So that's good news. But, right, man, when you consider how much of a revolving door this offensive line, but obviously spearheaded by the tackle position, how much it's gone through different phases and positional guy. Fant was on the left, then he's on the right. Beckham was on the right. Dwayne Brown comes in. It's been crazy. AVT playing 3 positions. When you consider all that, this offensive line is blowing my doors off. I mean, Oboye was on a practice squad for the Texans 3 weeks ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
and
you
we
look
saw
at
this last year, and we saw this last year when you take a guy off a practice squad like Elijah Riley. We all loved Elijah Riley. He's a great guy. Tried real hard. You can't take a practice squad guy, start him, and think he's going to do well. It just doesn't work that way. They're on a practice squad for a reason. So we hope and pray. But I think, I think Joe Douglas said, "Well, I'm not acquiring a guy. I'm not going to give up draft capital to get it for one game that we're probably going to lose anyway to the best team in football."
Yeah, so right. Yeah, we're dead anyway. What the hell am I doing?
Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to acquire a guy I'm going to give up a 3rd round pick for one game win. So that makes me think Mitchell or Fant is coming back to replace Ogbonnia. So there's some hope in that.
Yeah, well, it's it's interesting. And I think, again, I think we could, this offensive line with all of its decimation is still better than our 2019 and 2020 offensive lines. It's real. So that's what we were looking at, and that's what Joe Douglas is doing, man. Look, you can give him 2020 to a degree. Don't forget, he got here after all the money, all the draft was taken, and he still talked Ryan Khalil out of retirement. Like, I'll take a swing here, So anyway, I think Joe Douglas's focus on the offensive line and ability to weather the LDT last year and kind of adjust and bringing guys midstream here, I think it's worthy of being commended. Mark Riz checking in. What's up, Riz? Good to see you, buddy. We got to hang out opening day and at the Cyclone. It was great to see you. He says Diggs will be lost in the blue cheese sauce this Sunday, and Sauce will wear the buffalo wing hat after the game. Now, let me tell you, if that happens, now I think Sauce is going to play well. He has played well all year. I think he's going to do a good job. But in the event he completely shuts down like a day, and we know he's not necessarily on one player all game, but let's say that him and DJ Reed shut these guys down and we win, and Sauce gets to do something like that, I'm going to be uncontainable with joy. I'm going to lose my marbles, man. It's going to be fun.
It would be, if this happens, I mean, that would really be, I mean, because this is a passing attack that's, top notch. So I do think we're going to play a lot of 2-man, which means they're going to test them. Like, there's going to be a big test. I think there's going to be a couple of passes, deep bombs, and it's going to be one-on-one, Sauce on Davis or Sauce on Diggs, or vice versa, Reed on Diggs, Reed on, Davis. And we're going to see. We're going to see how they hold up, because I think Josh Allen's going to test them. Look at the Houston Texans. Jerry Hughes.
I'm telling you what I say, huh? Nobody listens to GreenBean.
Damn, we should have traded for him. What's he doing? He's just down there doing.
Nobody listens to little old GreenBean. So Y2K was saying that Zach is actually completing 28% of passes under pressure. Yeah. He's the only quarterback doing worse is, interestingly enough, Tom Brady.
But think about what that means. What it means is that he's also very, very good, and especially if you look at expected points over average, in terms of what they call clean, having a clean pocket. But what does that really mean? It means his first read. When he gets his first read and it's open, he's a one-read Ronnie. He can read it and he can throw it, and he's doing good. So a clean pocket, because his first read is open. As soon as that first read is closed, that's it. And it's pressure because of a combination of the line, and he can't seem to get to his second, third read quickly enough, or he doesn't stick in there. He just bails. You gotta stay in the pocket a lot of times, find your hot route quickly, and do things like that. And so some of it's a big combination of things, but that whole stat is about the first read being open. When the first read's open, Zach's real good.
Yeah,
great. So is every high school quarterback too. So now, congratulations.
Right. Well, we have so much still to talk about, Frankie. I mean, we got to get into Denzel Mims. We got to get into Quinnen Williams. a little bit. I hope you can hang a little bit after the 10 o'clock hour. Is that okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Quinnen Williams and Denzel Mims, I'm not going anywhere, GreenBean.
I know, man. We're just getting started here at the Thursday Think of It. Indy Colt checking back in. Thank you, Indy Colt. You've been a good guy tonight, and we appreciate it. Do you think they will know if Wilson is the guy in 2000? I think they're going to have a pretty good idea.
This
right,
is what
Frankie?
this is what we're batting around, Indy Colt. I mean, this is what we're hoping and praying. We have to know. It all depends. If this is the thing, Indy Colt, you have to see progress. But his last 2 games were the worst of the year. His last 2 games have been his worst. We thought it couldn't get any worse than Denver, and then it got worse against New England. So can he get worse? Is he going to have a worse game against Buffalo? I mean, and if he keeps getting worse and worse and worse, geez.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to see progress. If we see progress in certain areas, which is not becoming a one-read Ronnie, he's got to stay and find his second and third reads. You got to stay in the pocket, manipulate the pocket, find those receivers when they're open. He's got to run forward and not backwards. Backwards is the devil.
It's the truth, man. The backwards, if anything, think about if all the yards he got going backwards, he actually went forwards. Think about that.
It would be called positive yardage. Imagine.
It would be amazing. Real quick, I just want to say, Aaron, before I get to you, Anthony, and thank you. She says, I feel that Moore does not care for Zach Edema. Well, look, I'm just going to say quickly, there are words coming out that's where his ire is directed. It's Zach. Like, that's what I read something and I heard guys, I forget what show it was, but they were talking about what they were hearing was a lot of his frustration has to do specifically with Zach Wilson, who's done nothing but commend Moore and everything.
Now,
hey, man,
you could be frustrated that Wilson's not better. Like, of course, he wants him to be better because then he's getting the ball to him more often.
Well, yeah, but that's the kind of shit you gotta support. You got 2.5 years, just weather it, man. But there was he said something like, "I wish my trade request never made it public." Like, dude, you made it public. This guy's all over the place, and it sucks. But I do think that that's the frustration. It might be somewhat with LaFleur, but I think a lot of it does have to do with.
But let me throw an Elijah Moore trade proposal out there, GreenBean, in the offseason. Before the draft, would you trade Elijah Moore to the Green Bay Packers? They need a wide receiver very badly and a nice young one who's already been in a West Coast system, a LaFleur to floor trade. Elijah Moore to the Packers for Amari Rodgers and a number 2 in the 2023 draft.
Yeah, sure.
Would they do that?
No, they wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't bank on his
potential. Listen, let me say this. If we are able to get Elijah Moore back in the damn program, 10 plays last week. Now, look, if they're just, they're giving him a couple last kicks in the balls, I'm with it. I'm fine with it. But if that's what we're doing and we're just not going to be able to get him in, then I don't think his value is going to go up. Now, if you can use him and he's got all the talent in the world. If you can just use him, showcase him even, at least just make him part of the offense and utilize his skills. If he can have a few games, I think his value is going to go up. And in the offseason, teams will look at it and go, well, look, terrible quarterback play. They were misusing him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Dude, they're going to think that they're the team, like a team like the Packers or even the Chiefs or the Cardinals or whoever. Somebody who believes in their offensive system, I think they would look at Elijah Moore and think, oh, yeah, we can use that guy. And his value might go up. Second and Amari Rodgers. Sure. Yeah, I would do that. So, all right, listen, we're going to get to Anthony Brack. Then we're going to bring Watu K on. We'll get into some trivia. We're going to talk Quinnen Williams. We're going to talk Denzel Mims. It's funny because we always talk Denzel Mims, but now we have reasons to talk about Denzel Mims. We're going to get into it. I can't wait to see how the fan base is, if we're cool, if we're still up and down, if we're still separated. But Anthony Brack checking in. Thank you, Anthony. He says, Bean for president. I think that's a good idea, Anthony. I really do. I would do a good job.
President of what?
President, period.
Of what?
The United States of America, of course. Everybody would be doing well. I assure you. You would all be like, you know what? That's a good friggin' president. I know. I'm telling you, that guy's all right. He says, time to see what the boys are made of this week. Well, you know what? You're right. But I got to be honest, Anthony. I thought that was last week. Like, the Bills, they're more than likely going to outclass us, right? More than likely. They're way ahead of us. They've been playing together as a unit for, this is like the 6th year with the defense, or 5th or 6th year. Most of these guys, they added Von Miller, whatever, all the stuff. More than likely, they're going to outclass us. We're young. We're in the first year of really being competitive as a team. Last week against the Patriots, that was the real, and we'll have more, but that was the opportunity, even losing to the Bills, to show the world, to show us, and to show themselves and Bill Belichick, the hoodie of doom, that we're making a statement. This is what we're made of. So unfortunate that we didn't walk out of there with a W, man. It really is. Now, look, doesn't mean the season's over. We're 5-3, man. You know, it's a hiccup, but it still was a real good opportunity to make a very loud statement in the AFC East, in the AFC, and in the NFL at large. I would have liked it. What do you think, Frank? You think we can make a big statement this week, Frankie, with showing what we're made of? You think we got a shot here?
Not really. I mean, there's always a shot, but anybody who rationally looks at the matchup, we have Cedric Ogbuehi playing. Like, how's he going to block Von Miller? Now, they have a bunch of injuries. So Von Miller didn't practice today, and neither did it looks like Jordan Poyer's out, and it looks like there's another major player who might be out. Micah Hyde's already out. So if they have a bunch of injuries, I guess maybe, but then you still got to deal with Josh Allen. So I don't know. It's hard for me to believe without AVT and without Brees and without Corey and all these people. Matt Milano, right? Duatu says, yeah, Matt Milano didn't practice for a second straight day. I guess if they have everybody out, maybe. But, I mean, if you look at it rationally, they are way, way better than us. They have a – let me just tell you how good the Buffalo Bills are. There's no team in the NFL before tonight had a better than an 80-point point differential. If you want to look at point differential, nobody had better than 80. The highest one was 78, except for the Buffalo Bills, who are at 105. So that's how much better than everybody they are. And here we come with Cedric Ogbuehi and Dwayne Brown, the old man Brown with a half a shoulder, and no Brees Hall and Nate Herbig trying his best out there. And we're going to compete. I mean, now maybe we will, and that would be fantastic. And we got a quarterback who's playing YOLO ball. So I don't see it, but could it happen? Yeah, anything could happen, but this isn't real. I mean, I'd like to have AVT and Brees Hall playing before I know what the boys are made of. I mean, AVT is so important to us. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, look, Frankie, he brings up very, rational points. It's the truth. It's the truth, man. Like, Cedric Ogbuehi, even though he's first round pedigree, has been a journeyman to a degree and was most recently on a practice squad. Couldn't even make third string or, let's say second string on a roster. That's for a reason. Now, he actually played okay. He did. But this is Von Miller and this is Gregory Rousseau and the rest of the boys and the blitzes and all this stuff. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Now, that said, I think I'm probably even a little bit higher than Frankie on our potential to win, right? But it's still going to be tough. All right? It's going to be tough, man. Now, they have a bunch of injuries, so there's that. But again, man, look, we have a talented roster. If Zach can settle in and actually hit Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, Berrios, the running back, we have a lot of weapons, man. If it happens, if we click on all cylinders, we got a puncher's chance. And hey, man, I would love to see this become a game. Like, that's what I want. I want a game, and in a game, anybody can win, even if we don't win, as long as we're not, 48-6. That's what I don't want. You know what I mean? That's what I don't want. I don't want the Buffalo Bills literally being the last people in the stadium. All their fans are just having a good time, like they were hanging out at their mom's house. That's what I don't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Anthony, yeah, we're going to show what we're made of. Again, though, I wish we would have just showed a little more last week, and then we could do anything this week. You know what I mean? Be 6 and going into the bye 6-3. Oh, that'd be delicious. It'd be delicious. So, anywho, let's bring Watu-K on, who, again, I got to spend some time with this week. I see a couple more super chats. We'll get to those as well. But, Frankie, we're going to bring Watu-K on. What's up, Watu-K? And we're going to talk about who brought the Thursday thick of it to everybody this week. We are going to get into you guys know and love them. We're going to get into the sponsor for tonight's show, which, as you know by now, this might be the last week, though, Frankie. I'm not sure. They have some decisions to make, but here they are. Let me move that. Oh, I can't move my computer too much, or else fucking everything will go up. But guys, I want to tell you about Manscaped. You guys know and love them. You've been thinking about buying Manscaped products for years, and you just won't pull the trigger. Now is the time to pull the trigger. Watu-K is showing you the leather case, the leather bag that they give you with the performance package. Frankie is showing you the headlines that they just keep putting out every week. Some paper puts this out. It's that important to save our balls. They've been being mistreated throughout our whole adult lives. It's time, guys. Now, we want to tell you that Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered. I happen to have one right here. Can you hear it? No, you can't. It's so quiet, and it comes with the flashlight, guys. The flashlight is life-altering. Precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's performance package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Over 7 million men worldwide, which is 14 million balls approximately. They all trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you. Right now, if you order, you can add 20% off of the already, the sales that are already happening right now on their website. There's always a different sale, 20% off here, 10% off there. You can actually add our 20% off to those sales if you use the promo code GreenBean, and on top of that, you get international shipping for free, guys, for free. So if you live in the UK, like so many of our listeners, you order some Manscaped, you get 20% off on top of the 15% off, and you don't got to pay for shipping. It's amazing. Watu-K, what do you think of these products, buddy?
They're fantastic. Guys, let's be honest. Do a better job taking care of your balls than Zach Wilson did this past Sunday. It's that simple.
I like
Guys,
that. That was well done.
I'll tell you what. I actually got a haircut today. I feel like I took about 10 pounds off. I'm feeling good. But, the hair on your head is not the only hair that matters.
That's right. That's right.
And the lady in your life will tell you the same thing. It's not just how you look on the outside and how the face looks. Eventually, certain times happen, and you got to be taken care of all over. And there's no better way to do that than with Manscaped. So take advantage of the offer. We don't know how much longer we're going to have it, but I've used the products, and I can tell you they're fantastic. And I'm so glad I got the chance to use them.
Yeah, well said, Watu-K. And let me be real honest with you guys, too. I use this. This is what I use to trim up the face, the eyebrows, my ears. I'm getting older. All kinds of weird hairs popping out. It's not just for your balls. Like dude, I've had trimmers for years. This is, honest to God, the best trimmer I've had. I don't even use the other ones I have. This is the one I use because the flashlight, it's smooth. It never pulls, at least not in my experience. I'm sure it can, but it doesn't since I've been using it. We love it. Again, use the promo code GreenBean. Frankie loves it. Watu-K loves it. I love it. And I know you'll love it. Use the promo code GreenBean, save 20% and get free shipping. So there it is, everybody. Manscaped. So Salty Nuts Magoo, speaking of the balls, Salty Nuts checking in. He wants to say, GreenBean, I sent you a great Chris Jenkins link via email. All right. Now, Salty, are you asking me to get it right now, or are you just for my enjoyment later? I don't know what he's doing, Watu-K. I'm nervous. So I'll look at it later, maybe. He says Moore also said there's a lot more behind the scenes that he can't say. Well, look, I've heard Frankie's take on this a little bit. I'm very curious, Y2K. What do you think about that kind of a statement? Like there's more going on behind the scenes that he can't say. What do you think it is? And you think it's just a bunch of horse shit and he's a crybaby, or you think there's really something there that he's legitimately griping about?
Well, you know what? Elijah Moore hasn't had a whole lot of restraint a week ago when he was asking for the trade. And so now all of a sudden there's things going on behind the scenes that now he doesn't want to talk about. I guess it's okay for him or his agent to put out these statements and to make these apparently secret deals and secret going ons. It's okay to make them public. But I guess when the media is actually there asking him the questions directly, Elijah Moore is kind of cowering and he doesn't want to talk about the truth or what his version of the truth is more accurately. Yeah, I think Mr. Moore has a sort of a warped view of things. I definitely think there's a disconnect between him and Zach Wilson. I don't think there's any question about it, but I do believe that he is not being used correctly. Last year, he was being used 10 to 20 yards down the field, and it worked well. This year, and even behind the line a little bit. Now it's these deep routes, and it doesn't work. When you're facing the Bills this week and if they have a weakness on the defense, it's now in the middle of the field. Without Hyde and without Poyer, they are vulnerable at safety. This is a time to take advantage of the middle of the field, and Moore can do that. That is a spot that he needs to be used in this Sunday against Buffalo.
I would love it. You're so right. I mean, I don't think anybody is really saying that Elijah Moore, what he's upset about, isn't legit. We were all talking about it. We've talked about it here on numerous occasions. Why are they using Elijah Moore as just a firmly entrenched in the X? Like, why, number one, him moving around the back of the line is so sexy. He could do so much from there. And then obviously carving up the middle of the field. We were all talking about it. We didn't know why it was going the way that it was. But that all said, I still think he's a complete asshole for doing this the way that he did. He's got 2.5 years left on his contract. You talk to your coaches and you work through it. We were on a 3-game win streak, 5 games into the season or whatever it was. Like, how could you be so disconnected from what the more important thing is here? We got rookies doing well. We got young guys. We got new guys coming over, and you're doing this. So it doesn't matter that he's not getting used correctly. But I do agree. I agree 100%. And I think it's a shame that LaFleur can't figure out how to use lightning Elijah Moore and big, huge Denzel Mims. Like, I don't understand. Like, what does LaFleur need? What is it? What do you need to be able to get these guys in? I do think it's unfortunate, but man, is he handling it the wrong way, bro. I just, telling you, it's bothersome.
Let me throw some positivity in.
Yeah. What is that? Okay, we'll try it. We'll see how this fits.
Salty Nuts wanted to throw the negative in there with what Moore said. Let me throw in there what Will Parks said, and he said it publicly. And quote tweeting LaFleur, who said, so Jets Videos puts out something from LaFleur that says, quote, "We have been explosive. We're in the top 10 in explosive plays, but we haven't been as efficient as we need to be. That's on me to get corrected, Mike LaFleur." Then Will Parks quote tweets that and says, "One of the most prolific and hardest working OCs I have ever been around, so engaged on and with his guys as well as the defense. And I love going to work with this dude and against this dude because he gets me better. 100. How about that for a quote? Will Parks.
I didn't see that. That's fantastic, everybody. Did you hear, Frankie? That's delicious. Now, when did he say that? Is that today, Frankie?
Yeah, right before the show.
Oh, my gosh. Amazing. You see that? Now, I'm going to show you something else. I actually neglected to say this earlier, but going back to the Joe Flacco thing, just to show you the way that he worded what he worded. So look at this, guys. This is Joe Flacco. He says that he was surprised, right? He says, of course, I'm surprised and I'm disappointed, but at the same time, I got to keep it about the team and not try to be a selfish guy. Do you think, Frankie, what do you think? You think that's kind of staying on theme, we heard Quinnen, we heard Sauce, we heard CJ Mosley. Now we heard Will Parks. You think that there are leaders on the team kind of trying to make sure that that's out front, that it's about the team?
I do. And it brings me to another point that I just thought of. We're in kind of the next phase of this thing here. GreenBean, like last year was down to the studs rebuild. Everybody understood we stunk. We had no players. We had practice squad guys running around. So everybody was trying. There was plenty of passes to be had because we were down by so many points. We could just YOLO all day long, and everybody could get passes and so forth and so on. Well, we're in a little bit of a different situation now. We're in a different situation where we're trying to build it back up, and we're going to have to deal with this thing. It's a thing called success. And that's something that's also not easy to deal with. In some ways, it's easier to deal with failure. Hey, right. I just go out and make my plays, and then I'll be out of here, when my contract is up and whatever. Now, when there's success, you have to feed different people. People want to play. People want more reps. They want to get in there. They want to help. They want to make sure their career's on track, whatever it may be. So now there's a different challenge. Okay, how do these players now deal with some modicum of success? So I think there's that as well. And Joe Flacco doesn't really apply to him. He's going to be out of here. But some of these younger guys, now you got to deal with this part of the process, and some are going to deal with it fine, and some maybe are not. So.
Right. It's a good point. A lot, people don't think about that, but failure, it's almost like safe. Whatever you do when you're failing, it's positive. Learning how to win, learning how to be successful is really difficult for a lot of people. And as we know, you hear about the fear of failure a lot, but the fear of success is another huge one. Not that that's necessarily what Frankie's saying, but just as an add-on. That's a really great point. So I don't know, man. This Elijah Moore thing is weird. I wish it wasn't happening. I wish it just wasn't happening, but it is. And let's see how we make it through the rest of the year with him. Indy Colt checking back in. Thank you, Indy Colt. I sincerely appreciate it. That's a pink one. We don't see pink all that often. So I do appreciate it. He says, thanks, GreenBean. As a survivor of alcohol addiction, I thank you. Friend, go Jets. Well, dude, I mean, honestly, good for you. Connection right there. I still go to meetings pretty much every day. So, look, it's my gig, man. And, man, getting that grace to be removed is it's special, and it's not everybody gets it. I've lost far too many friends. And I see people struggling all over the place. I've gone into crack houses and shooting galleries to pull young people out of there. And it gets ugly. It gets really ugly out there, man. So good for you, Indy Colt. I'm proud to be of your tribe, let's call it. I do appreciate you checking in today and hanging out with us all night, man. Even aside from the super chats, thanks for hanging out. It's good to have other teams' fans that act respectful and cool. We can talk shit all day, talk football all day. It's trolling and trying to upset people that I find intolerable. So thank you, Indy Colt. I appreciate your presence, and thank you for the super chats, my friend. And hey, continued success with your freedom from alcohol. Appreciate it. Matthew 13,400 checking in. Thank you, Matthew. We appreciate it. Super chat. MetLife was loud, died after the half. Enough excuses. The season ticket holders have to stop selling their seats. I go to every game. That's why you buy season tickets. I'm sick of it. We must be better. There you go. Look, man, I'm glad somebody in the position, and watch UK. I'm sorry. Let me get this off. I'm cutting your face off. I'm sorry, buddy. There it is. Sorry about that.
Most people probably prefer it that way, but that's okay.
Right. So, yeah, I'm glad that somebody who can speak on this is speaking on this. Like I said, I feel a little bit like I have a weak stance. I'm fraudulent to a degree when I make statements like that, because I'm not going to every game. Now I'm in Virginia. I'm 6.5 hours away. It's a little problematic. That's a 13-hour round trip. So there's that. But still, I still feel like I don't have the the firm platform to make a really loud statement, but Matthew does. Matthew goes to every game. Matthew's a season ticket holder, and he's saying, if you don't want to go to all the games, why the hell are you buying season tickets? And look, again, who am I to judge anybody? But it really does suck that so many of our season ticket holders sell their seats to the opposing team. And sure, you make a couple $100. Is it that important? Really? If you can afford the PSLs and the season tickets, does a few $100s really make it that much different? Maybe the people are trying to recoup. They are like, fuck, I owe all this money with the PSLs. I get it. But isn't it about, like, why are you in? Why are we doing this? I don't understand it. When I bought my season tickets, I went to every single game unless I had, the flu or something like that. Like, I went to every single game. It was just, that's what I do. I'm a season ticket holder. So I don't know. Y2K, if you were a season ticket holder, would you sell your tickets to the other team?
I don't think I could do that until, man, it would take something pretty exorbitant. Put it this way, you're going to have to give me a heck of a lot more than face value, and the team's going to have to be in the absolute gutter for me to do that. And hey, if it's 20 degrees below outside, you want to go there, and you'll give me like twice what the ticket's worth. Hey, I'll make a business decision. I don't mind making a buck once in a while, but for this season, how do you do it during this season? This is as exciting of a run as we have had legitimately in 10 years. I could understand it when Adam Gase was the coach. I can't justify it this season.
Yeah,
can't do it.
I agree. It's like, right, when we're losing, okay, we get it. But this is what we all hope for, which is one of the reasons I find it so interesting, for lack of a better word, the complete assault on the team right now. We lost. I know it's the Patriots. It's painful. I get it. So we should have won the game. But dude, we're 5-3 for the first time in a very long time, and with a young team. Like, we are a legitimate budding team coming together and winning these games, fighting through the fourth quarter, all that stuff. We almost saw a magical comeback this week. And I hate that we had to get there, but still, it was still the fourth quarter. And, what we've been watching this year, this is the time. Like, if you're a season ticket holder, this is why you buy season tickets. It's to be a part of this and to go and support this. And look, the 12th man is real, guys. It's very real. The energy in the stadium, the noise when they're trying to get their plays off, when we're on defense, all that stuff is real. It's very real. And this is, I don't know. I hate it. I really do. I understand on some levels, like Y2K said, when it's with losing season, sure, who the hell wants to go? I don't want to fucking pack up everything and go spend the whole day to watch them lose 54-13, whatever it is. But now this is what we're there for. And if you don't want to do it, sell your season tickets to a Jets fan that wants to. That's my thoughts. Frankie, you got any thoughts on this one out there in Pittsburgh?
I don't have much to stand on because I've never been to a game, believe it or not. Never got into the rhythm of being a game goer, but I would think there would be a way to organize, Matthew. Get organized, man. Figure out a way to communicate with these people. Shouldn't there be a group chat or something, or some kind of, Facebook group, and make your voice known, organize, get the word out that, this is not acceptable. We got to make the impassioned plea, for the boys, for Alonzo Dotson, for Greg Van Roten. This is the Greg Van Roten revenge game. Hello. He is their backup center, believe it or not.
He's over there, right?
Guard anymore. They said, you're not good enough to play guard. You can be a backup center. And we're
Isn't it
not
crazy
upset about this.
So is he their Dan Feeney now, just with a lot less personality?
He's their backup center. They won't even let him play guard. That's not allowed anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? The Buffalo Bills quite literally have signed every year the offensive lineman that we've cut every year for the past 4 or 5 years. Spencer Long. What was the other center's name? Wesley
Johnson.
Wesley Johnson,
Vlad Dukas, Brian Winters, now
Yeah.
GVR. I mean,
what's going on with that?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. They're signing our scouts. They're signing our offensive linemen. I don't like any of it. How about that?
There's something to it, man. There's something to it. They see what's going on over here. We got some nuggets.
They take our head coach. They took Rex away.
They did.
Yeah.
Rex had to get his green tattoo painted blue. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Poor fella.
I wonder if it's still blue to this day. Who knows?
That was the last coaching gig he had, right? So why not?
Yeah.
That was it.
Remember 2 years ago, he started calling everybody and seeing if they would be his, and we were getting all those reports that he was making the rounds trying to gather up his coaching staff because he was convinced he was getting a job that year, and he didn't even get an interview. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and look, I love Rex as much as the next guy. I have a Rex Ryan signed football right there. Can you see it? Let's see. There we go, guys. See? Rex Ryan.
Nice. Yeah. I was going to say, don't move too far. We might hear him go, no, again.
I know. Right. Yeah. So anyway, Rex, man, it's like, but he's a silly fella. I think for all of his awesomeness, the other side of that is nobody wants to deal with it. You know what I mean? If he's winning, great. But other than that, it's like, nope, we don't want it. We'd rather go
in the perfect spot at this point. Yeah, he's in the perfect spot right now on ESPN in the studio. It's perfect.
Let him be a talking head. Yeah.
Right where he should be. Yeah. Don't need him on play-by-play or doing commentary. Just studio's perfect.
Yeah. Paris is saying, hey, man, unfortunately, people use their season tickets to pay for the games they do go to. So they have to supplement, they buy the season tickets and they have to sell half of them just so they can afford to go to the other 4. I know. Look, man, it's just like Woody Johnson put out that tweet. It was I think it was Twitter, maybe Instagram. He said, it's only Tuesday and the game's sold out. And it's like, because from his vantage point, that doesn't matter. It's the tickets are sold. And now everybody, there was 1,000 comments. Like, you do know they're all Buffalo fans, right? Because of the way you fucking run things. That end of it, like, I do not agree with the PSLs. I do not agree with the way that they've made like the lower deck, kind of, let's just call it, executive class or whatever it is. Like, most of the tickets down there are people that are not diehard fans. The diehard fans, not say everybody, of course, but there's a lot of opportunity for like business meetings and things like that. People that are going, you're bringing your, 5 partners, they're in from Idaho and you're just taking them to a game, that kind of a thing. That's kind of what's going on. And all the real loud diehards are upstairs so far away. Like, don't forget, man, the top of Giant Stadium is just about where the bottom of the upper deck is in MetLife. That's how much higher and bigger it is. So, yeah, it's a different world. Maybe Paris. That's a good point. Who knows, right? I still think you should just go to the fucking game. That's what I think, So bite the bullet, man. Spend the damn money. And don't buy Knishes inside. Do they even sell Knishes anymore? I don't even know. I miss Knishes.
I was looking at. I wasn't going to MetLife Stadium to look at the concession stands. That's for
no.
Sure.
That's it. I mean, dude, you eat outside, you go in and you can make it 3 hours without eating a damn hot dog. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, you don't do it. That's me. $8 hot dog in MetLife, I think it is. $8 for a friggin'
That's without
hot
the
dog.
bun and the mustard, by the way. That's just that's just the dog.
Hey, you know what, though? I will say this. MetLife actually, the stadium reviews, supposedly they have one of the best hot dogs in any stadium in the country, in the league. So that's something. That's something.
That's something to hang our hat on.
Yeah, best hot dog. Like the 8th best hot dog in the league. Matthew checking back in. He says, we will not be able to have home field advantage if we don't start somewhere. I don't want to hear about the experience. Just go to the game and show belief in our boys. It's incredible how some think. Yeah, Matthew, again, bro, I appreciate you saying it. I have my feelings. I hate when you watch on TV, right? And you can see it, man. Like, you can see, like, this Sunday, it's going to be blue. I hate it. It bothers me on an intrinsic, like, deep level. It really seeps in. Again, we gotta change people's thinking. I think some consistent winning will help. But I really thought this year, would spark some. And maybe it has. Maybe we're having a 20% increase in such things. Who knows? But anyway, Matthew, I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate you lobbying for that cause because I believe in it, buddy. I really do. I'm glad someone is saying it. I love it, man. And I might be up there for the Detroit game. It's funny. My son, there's a concert of like one of his absolute favorite bands, this crazy growling, guttural band. But they're playing in New Jersey that night. You know what I mean? It's like he's begging. Like, we'll go to the game, but we can please go to the show. Please, I can't believe we're going to be in New Jersey. You know, I don't know if I'll be there that day, but it looks like I might. Anyway, so we're doing the battle. If I'm up there for the Detroit game, I'm going to get in the stadium and be with you, Matthew. That'll be nice. Matthew, wow, checking back in. Look at you today. Thank you, Matthew. I could have made $700 over face value on my seats. I had an offer and decline. Glad you fellas agree. Take your skirts off, Jets fans. Unreal, truly. No, I just want to say that we do not support any gender specificity. You can be whatever you'd like. If you want to wear a skirt, that's fine. You want to be called they, those, him, her, it doesn't matter to us. But I understand what you're saying, Matthew. So thank you. It's awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, look, he turned down 700 extra bucks. For what? Because are we in or are we out? Right? Like, what are we doing here? We spend all damn day, all night on these live streams and reading articles and all this shit. We, all day on Twitter. I voted 500 times for Garrett Wilson to win, and then I don't go to the game. And then I sell my tickets.
Yeah, I really wonder, did people go to Shea Stadium back in the day because it was a great stadium to go to, because it was pretty and posh and all of this? I don't think so. I think people went to Shea Stadium, from what I can gather, because they freaking love the Jets and they love the team. Now, you could say that the location was a little bit easier for the Jets fan base, being that it was in Queens as opposed to in New Jersey. That's about the only argument you can make. So here's my thing. If MetLife Stadium, I know this is hypothetical, but if that was in Queens, would Jet fans still be going? The bottom line is, if you love your team, you freaking go to the game. Now, maybe they haven't given us a reason to go, but I like what Matthew's saying. I mean, you have to, until we start going, making noise, and the team, well, I mean, I know we do, but as the team gets better, we're going to get louder, and we're going to create a home field advantage. The reason the stadium does not feel like the Jets stadium is because the Jets haven't had any great moments in it.
Yeah.
The best moment they have is probably, the Mike White game? That's
I'm
about as
telling
good
you,
as
man.
it's gotten.
It's
in
the
12
truth.
years.
You're so right. This stadium is like sterile for us. There's nothing in there. We had 2015. We had the Patriots moment. I think that was there with the overtime thing. But by and large, you're so right. What's that, Frankie? Was that in New England?
Is there even mass transit out to the stadium now?
There is.
New Jersey Transit goes there, and you can take the
New
bus
Jersey
there.
Transit. So, but most New Yorkers don't really care about New Jersey Transit. Like, like going out to Queens, you just take the 7 train. Like, and most New Yorkers would be like, yeah, okay, that's part of the deal. Like, I get it. Oh, I got to get on New Jersey Transit. What is that about?
Or I got to drive there, pay $14 each way in tolls. But the thing is this, when it was Giant Stadium, same thing. I mean, we've been there since 86, 83, right?
Wow.
So I think, it's just, look, we've sucked for a long time. The air has been sucked out of us, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I do get it.
2011, man, it was a long time ago. That was the off-season of doom, as GreenBean often will tell you.
Yeah.
And that's been a long time ago. So it's a long time to suck. Like, we've just been sucking for too long. That's the way it is.
We've
It's
been
the truth,
sucking
man.
for too long.
Sucking, if you suck that long, you will run out of air. And that's the way it goes. So, yeah. And look, hopefully it's on the upswing. We looked pretty good fan-wise in the New England game, and they were nice and loud in the first half, man. It's just, the team, you gotta give us something, man. You want us to keep expelling energy, you gotta give it back. You gotta give us something.
And it's so easy to get them quiet too, because we're so used to the disappointment that when one devastating thing happens, like the JFM penalty, the problem is it's hard to get it back. We're loud, but the Jet fan, let's be honest, at the game, they're not resilient yet.
Yeah.
That is the next level to get to.
Yeah, man. And look, we have a young team. Like Joe Douglas is building this in the way that I think is best. Like we're not shooting, we're not gathering a bunch of 1-2 year guys. We're building it. Look, Sauce Gardner, if he, let's assume his career, he has a nice long career. He's a Jet. You know what I mean? Unless we don't want him. I mean, we have him for 5 years. Sauce Gardner could be here for the next 5 years minimum. So, and that goes for Jermaine Johnson and Breece Hall and obviously Garrett Wilson and all the rest, ABT. Like these guys are going to be here a while. So, hey man, if this is any indicator this year, even if we scrap our way through to 9 wins or something like that, it doesn't matter. Winning record, something like that. We just want to see progress and something to build on. This team could be a juggernaut for a long time because we are talented, man. We have a lot of talent on this team. Indy Colt checking in with 2 more. He says, will Zach be the starting quarterback next year? And then he's also saying, is Zach the guy? So Y2K, we haven't heard your take on this one yet. So what do you think? Frankie and I were kind of talking about, how long, his leash is or his rope. What do you think? If you had to guess, would Zach be the guy next year?
For me, most likely, I would give him the chance to be the quarterback next season. He's basically played the equivalent of 1 season. You knew Zach was not the most pro-ready quarterback. You were drafting him because of raw talent and the ability to coach him. But you look at even next season. I mean, does anybody think the Jets are going to sign Tom Brady as a free agent? Please. We can always bring
final
Sam
frontier
back.
For that guy, though. It's the final frontier.
I'm trying to think, like, if they didn't, what would happen? I mean, the Jets are good enough where they're not going to be in position to draft one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks coming out of this class, unless they want to trade up, and that's a whole other discussion we could have maybe at the end of the year. But then you're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, will the Giants keep Daniel Jones? I mean, there are some guys who aren't terrible, but for me. He has to he has to play like he did in the second half of the New England game, because we forget Zach was playing very well in this game up until that first interception and then 30 minutes of crap. So, and this is the other thing that really bothered me today when I was checking social media on one of the sports radio stations. The lead on the show today was, is it too soon to call Zach Wilson a bust? And to me, it was just so irresponsible, so short-sighted, and so desperate to just rile people up, specifically rile us up, the Jets fans, that they actually talked about that. How can you possibly even have that discussion after 1 loss this season?
I know.
Let me tell you something, Y2K. You would not believe this, but they're having these conversations very same about Kenny Pickett here in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett. Drafted this year. They're saying, is it too early? That's the exact same words. Is it too early to call Kenny Pickett a bust? And it's been, 5 games with Kenny Pickett? So this is just the way of commercial, media.
Yep. You're right. And there's a design to it. Like we know this. Yeah. That's why I'm still surprised that so many people bite and get upset. Like legitimate. It's one thing to read it. Every now and then I'll read some shit. But I mean, like people get like furious. You see these Twitter threads and they just end up being like, fuck you, you're a loser and all that kind. It's like, it's crazy to me because that's the design. Like Rich Cimini, right? He put out that tweet last week and it's like, dude, he waited until there was a negative spin on Joe Douglas's draft classes.
Oh yeah.
He could have did it the week before. And it was like, we had none. We were studs all over. He would have never put that out. Never. If everything remained, if Breece Hall kept going the way he was going and ABT was still, we never would have saw that. He only does it from the negative side. If you ever want to know which reporter's asking about Denzel Mims, or even in Salah's press conference today, you want to know who asked about Elijah Moore? It's Dick Chimney. Every single time. That's his role. Like the fact that you guys still follow him out there blows my mind. The fact that
20,000 followers he has on Twitter.
It's crazy, right? Why would he stop?
Yeah,
right? Why would he?
He's winning. In his point of view, he's winning and he's beating you if you follow him.
ESPN loves him. He's doing a swing. People say, how could this guy still have a job? What do you mean? He's nailing it. He's hitting it out of the park. It's out home run after home run after home run. Because number one, we're all following him. Number two, you're all clicking on his articles. Number three, underneath those tweets that he puts out, there's 250 replies or more. The Elijah Moore one, dude, it had 1,000 replies, if not more.
And those replies all help Dick Chimney's career, because he goes back to the employer and says, look at the engagement I get. Look at what I can do. Look how I can drive traffic to the site. Every time you engage with Dick Chimney, you're helping Dick Chimney make his millions and millions of dollars.
That's it. If you don't like him, then you got to stop. I'm telling you, man. It's like I haven't followed him. I mean, literally, like I dabbled a little bit when I was looking for Jets podcast. I listened to his podcast for a little while. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's same shit. You know what I mean? A negative spin. Always look. I haven't listened to that or followed him in literally years. It might be around 4 years. I think his podcast was like in its first year. I listened to like 3 or 4 episodes. I'm like, fuck this guy, man. It's the same thing all the time. I don't know. I mean, all you guys out there that still follow him, if we want the negative shit to stop, we got to stop biting. It's like, every time, like, they're throwing in a line. Why stop fishing in this pool when they keep biting? Like, why? I'll fish here for the rest of my life. It's fine.
I mean, Country Club Connor even put out something saying Robert Saleh told the fans that there'll be fireworks and to get them into the stadium. And the fans didn't even listen, or something to that effect. They couldn't even be bothered to come in from their beer and brats to watch the Jets. How terrible is this? Right? And
I mean, the bratwursts in the parking lot are pretty good. No fairness.
That's true, but I mean, how many can you eat, really? But the
I could take. Well, I ate 14 hot dogs the other night. So what was I gonna do with the bratwurst?
But like Country Club Connor Hughes' boss, his title is Director of Content Strategy. Director of Content Strategy, which means he sits in a dark room and strategizes about how to get the most out of you people. You Jet fans. Like, this is what he strategizes. Figure how can Connor Hughes and other people who work for him, maximize their content to get you all riled up. That's his whole job. He's got a whole job.
So is Connor's boss Jets Forever or Modine? It's got to be one of the two.
Probably is a burner account. Yeah.
Right. Like, look at Knobcraft. It's a great point. He says, dude, just be clear. You want to know who did that Elijah Moore thing? It started right with a Dick Chimney tweet. Right there. That's what it is. And he said, like a gangster. It's right, Knobcraft. He knows what he's doing. He's surgical, dude. He knows exactly. And the thing is, he doesn't need to hit every time. He throws enough out there. He's always a landmine, always a trap. Somebody's going to trip the wire. And that's what happens. And then it blows up. And then everybody who reports goes, it was reported by Dick Chimney. That blah, 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 blah. And then he's just national. He's national now. So anyway.
Braxton Berrios could ask for $9 million.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah. Per source.
Yeah. And you know what it was? Do you remember?
I'm not saying it. The source said it.
That's right. But remember what the source was? When you back it all the way up, he was having a conversation at the Senior Bowl with another guy who was an agent of other, not even Berrios, just a random agent that he talked to. And he said he could ask for up to $9 million. Berrios could ask for $9 million per source, per agent. Whose agent? Oh, not Berrios's. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. But how many, dude, that was a week or two of furious Jets fans. Fuck him. You can't pay him $9 million. Who does he think he is? It's like, I don't know. He never asked for $9 million. Joe Douglas got him for $6 million, right? Wasn't it?
I think
something like that.
2 years, $6 million a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 for $6.
Yeah. So, look, and that's the thing, we're a very excitable bunch and we make a lot of people a lot of money. Make no mistake about that. Bratwursts or not. Matthew checking back in. He says, Bean, let me join live on Zoom from the stadium. I've tried, Matthew, I appreciate it. We've tried that numerous times. It never works right. We did it from London. That was okay because it was Glenn Naughton and he's at least he's used to doing it, but we did it with the green and white. We did it with other games, some preseason. We did it during like an away game. I think it might have been Denver 2 years ago, something like that. It never works right. It's very difficult. It's very hard to do. I appreciate it, and in theory, I loved the idea having somebody there, on location. But we don't have the same equipment as ESPN. It just doesn't work out. It doesn't work out as right. So thank you for the offer. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing that anymore. So listen, I want to real quick before we go, let's end it on a high note. Our boy Quinnen Williams, guys. Quinnen Williams was voted the AFC Defensive Player of the Month. This is a guy who's really coming into his own, dominating games. I'm really curious to see the snap counts. I didn't see it for this week, but you see it, whether it's ups and downs, he's 60%, 80%. The guy is making his plays count. And again, in this game, he had his sack on a third down or a fourth. I forget if it was one or the other. But Quinnen Williams knows how to get his stats when you need him. He is a big-time player. He's not just a compiler, which helps, right? Guys who get their stats, they always help. But Quinnen maximizes his impact on the game by getting his sacks, getting his tackles for a loss on 3rd and 2, on 4th down when they're going for it. And it's an amazing thing. I'm very proud to have Quinnen Williams. Frankie, what do you think of this one? Does it mean anything to you? Maybe more than Rookie of the Week?
Well, more than Rookie of the Week for sure. I mean, and Quinnen deserves it. So Quinnen also is not getting coverage sacks and things like that. Those who don't know, Quinnen Williams, as far as interior defensive lineman, is first in the league in true sack rates, which of course is the weighted system of sacks. If you get a coverage sack or guys just let you run in their sack, those are weighted less, as they should be. If you beat a double team, it's weighted more. Quinnen Williams is 6th in the league of all defensive linemen in true sack rates, number 6. And you remember last year we had no one on that list, 0. Now we have Quinnen and Carl Lawson also on the list, further down. But Quinnen has been dominating, number 6 and the first interior. Not Aaron Donald. Nope. Not Grady Jarrett. Nope. Not Jeffrey Simmons. No siree. Quinnen Williams. If it's Quinnen season, it's winning season.
There you go. I like that. You know what,
season.
Frankie? You know what, Frankie? On this note, we really should consider something right now. You know what it is?
What's that?
This.
Frankie's Facts.
We forgot.
I was wondering what happened to that.
I snuck it in on you.
You did. I know. I was like, oh, dang, he's doing it. He's sneaking it in. So that's that's amazing, man. Quinnen Williams, dude, but specifically. And Frankie just told you, true sack numbers and all that kind of stuff. Coverage. I remember Jordan Jenkins a couple years ago. He had 7 sacks the one year, and then he had the 8 sacks. And there was a lot of Jets fans that were upset that Joe Douglas really wasn't showing any interest in bringing him back. There was actually a chorus. There was at least a contingent of Jets fans that wanted to pay him as if he was
and that's where true sack rate can come in, because a lot of people, I do videos on this, some people will say, well, a sack is a sack, it doesn't matter. And that's true in terms of the game being played. Like, if you sack somebody, no matter how you get there, it's good. That's true. But when it comes to, paying somebody, you need to know whether, if 2 guys have 10 sacks and one guy is high on the true sack rate and the other guy is not even on there, you really want to pay the one guy, not the other. Because the other one can do the other type of sack also, but the one who's just running in because they forget to block him, that's different. And that anybody can do that. You don't want to pay for that.
Yeah. And Jordan Jenkins, literally every one of his sacks were coverage sacks. It's relentless, and you love guys that play to the whistle, and it's positive, but there wasn't one time that Jordan Jenkins crashed through the line and disrupted a play. It's not what he did. And, there's a big difference between those guys and what Quinnen is doing, which is just decimating the pocket, whether it be on running. He does it on running plays too. He's pretty damn stout against a run. But what he does to passers is downright impressive, man. And
other teams knew it. Yeah. And other teams knew that about Jordan Jenkins. Do you remember when he was a free agent? He was going to go to the Giants, but then he just could not get an offer, and he wound up taking a 1-year deal with the Jets. And the market, he thought he was going to have a much more robust market, and it didn't work out. That is not going to be the case for Quinnen.
No, Quinnen, we better lock him up. We got to lock Quinnen up.
McCagnon knew.
Yeah, there he is.
Mike McCagnon can never, ever be called the worst general manager in Jets history. That's going to be John Idzik, because at least
if he takes the best player on, the consensus best player enough, it'll land once. It'll land. Isn't it funny though? Like Darren Lee, remember? Like Darren Lee was considered a pillar of our team. Gase traded him for a 6th, and he was gone by the end of the year. He was gone. He was out of the NFL. Like not even practice squads. He was out of the NFL. It's just crazy, man. And like Jordan Jenkins, and believe me, I don't mean it to sound like I didn't like Jordan. I did. He's a good football player, but he certainly wasn't somebody that you could, just write in as a locked-in starter. And he's like, he's good. And that's it. He's good. He went down to the Texans? I mean, where is he? Yeah. What is he playing? Is he starting? I don't think he's starting.
I don't think he's even in the league, by the way. Oh, by the way, real quick with the snap counts for Quinnen. You asked me about the snap counts.
Yeah. What do you do?
I got those for you. We'll go from week 1 on. 64%, 65%, 68%. Week 4 down to 61%. Week 5 up to 70%. Week 6, 67. Week 7, 62%. Last week up to 72%, so it went up by quite a bit. And definitely had the highest snap percentage of anybody on the defensive line. So it went from 62 to 72 in 1 week.
And out of the top 9 true sack rate guys, he has the lowest snap percentage.
Interesting.
And he's still 6th. Still. That's how good Quinnen's been. So he has the lowest out of the top 9 at 64% when this was done. I think it's a week old. But still, he has the lowest out of the top 9 guys, and he's still 6th in the league, first for interior defensive linemen. So pay the man. Pay the man. Oh. This is a time to say pay the man for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Jordan Jenkins. I'm sorry.
Well, you just saw, the Dolphins made a big trade for Bradley Chubb, and right on the heels of that, they gave him $120 million extension or something along those lines.
They did.
It's like 23 a year, right?
And the player on this list right after Quinnen Williams, Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
So he is quite good. He's not uber elite, as one of their beat reporters said giddily. He's not uber elite like TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, but he is quite good. So they paid him correctly. Like, that's a guy you pay. 26 years old, that good, you pay him. Yep. So they made it.
By the way, with Jordan Jenkins, so the Texans released him on August 15th. 2 days later, he signs with the Raiders. 4 days later, he was placed on IR with a torn ACL.
Oh.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, look, in that, you can't predict that. You can't say people like, look, but he was not even a starter. I think he was, when he went down to the Texans, like, look, they cut him, but I remember he was supposed to be the starter. And the last time I kept up, he was not anymore. Like, he was depth. So, yeah, man. I mean, look, and there were, I'm telling you, this is only 3 years ago, or 2, really. Jets fans were clamoring. A lot of them like, we need to sign this guy. He's a Jet. It's like, yeah, I'm with you. But just because they've been a Jet for 5 years doesn't mean they're not a Jag, and doesn't mean that we can't upgrade, And, it's like, look, we fall in love with guys, and I do too. I miss the days of Jets for life, the Kyle Cliftons, Mo Lewises of the world, even as recently as Mangold. And, if Sean Ellis didn't go to the Pats for that 1 year, he was a 12-year or 12-year Jet. And, and then you got Brian Thomas and those kinds of guys. I miss that stuff. Mangold and DeBrickashaw were Jets their whole career. That's fantastic, but it's becoming fewer and farther between. But just because I miss that doesn't mean you overpay guys that aren't all that good. You know what I mean?
And you can't leave out Brandon Moore. When you say Nick and Brick for me, you got to throw in Brandon Moore.
Brandon Moore. He was even an undrafted free agent, man. Amazing.
Defensive lineman who they converted. They had the vision to switch him over to guard, and he never missed a game after his first season. He never missed a game for 9 or 10 years. We talk about brick streak. Look up Brandon Moore's stats one time and look up the number of games he played every year. He was a rock. And he is just like Mo Lewis. His career is remembered for one play, and it's a freaking shame. It is a freaking shame that that's the case.
And it's very advantageous to have linemen who are durable. I mean, look what the hell's happening to us. I mean, so that durability and having those three together all be durable. I mean, how amazing is that?
Yeah, I forgot what that's even like. Like, I expect guys to go down. It's crazy. Like, if we when first couple weeks of the season, like we made it out with no injuries, I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, really? None? And it was really, I mean, even with that, like, we're still having a healthier year up to this point than we're used to. I mean, this is still, even with the offensive line madness and with Corey Davis and such, it's still not what we're used to. And on top of that, we have some legitimate depth at many positions, which is nice to see. So yeah, Merle says, Merle Films, what's up, man? He says, didn't Darren Lee win a Super Bowl? He did. He got a ring. He sold it though. He needs to. He's not working. What are you going to do?
Like season tickets. He sold.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same kind of a thing. Yeah, Salty Nuts talking about Calvin Pryor. Calvin Pryor is another one. Remember, we traded. McCagnon did a very smart thing. He traded Calvin Pryor, a very bad Idzik pick, for Demario Davis. Got Demario Davis back, and then Demario Davis had his best year of his whole career. And he didn't even need, you can go. It's fine. Just like Jason Myers. And he just said, yeah. I mean, no interest. That was the report. McCagnon showed zero interest in retaining Demario Davis. It's almost like he just used him to get rid of Pryor. It's like, I don't know. And then Demario Davis, as we know, became an all-pro for the Saints. He's like a legend in New Orleans now. We gave them Vilma back in the day. He's a Saints legend. We gave him Demario Davis. He's a legend. Yeah, that's how we do it. Maybe that shit's over. Indy Colt checking back in. Thanks, Green. Have a chance against Buffalo. We do. It's slim. But we got a shot. A puncher's chance. If Zach is on, we got a shot. If he's not, we're done. It really does boil down to that. If Zach can just play smart, use Elijah Moore, use Denzel Mims, who we'll talk about in a second. Use those guys, and we have a chance. If he's erratic and all over the place, we're dead. If he runs backwards with these guys, it's over. You know what I mean?
If I see him run backwards again, if I see another pirouette, my head might explode.
I'm telling you, it's really crazy, man. Like, it drives me insane. Like, I'm telling you, it's like I've never seen anything like it. Like, have you ever seen a quarterback play this way, Frankie? Ever?
I don't know. I haven't looked at quarterbacks look at Davis Mills. Davis Mills is running forward. Like, these people run forward. Mac Jones runs forward. The backward thing, there's been a lot of one-read Ronnies. That's for sure. That I did the research on. That's one thing. The backwards thing, that's just pocket presence and feel, and he's just not good at it at the moment. And I don't know. That's the one thing I would work on all day, every day in the offseason. In practice.
Doug Flutie? Maybe a little Doug Flutie?
No, he ran forward. I mean, he'd run sideways, but sideways. And like, that's the thing. It's like, if it happens, once here and there, but they get forward yards all the time. That's one thing. Zach, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anything like it, man. Fran Tarkenton when I was a little kid.
Pocket presence. He needs to be doing the Russell Wilson pocket presence drill. Look it up on YouTube. He needs to be doing that 7 hours a day. He shows you how to do it. You have a coach. You have the cones. He shows you. I looked it up.
There you go, Frank. Look, man, one thing Frank is going to do, he's going to research it. That's Frankie. That's what he does.
Yeah, we should do a video where we do some of these drills and we try to figure out what Zach should be doing. I'm sure that.
Yeah, we'll go outside and we'll film me choking and coughing. Yeah, that's good. I'm in.
Have Jeremy being the coach, and then he's eating a snack at the same time.
Yeah, man. Right. Real quick, Ablab, I just want to make comment to Michael Lamont and Mo Lewis. Obviously, I'm a huge Mo Lewis guy too, man. I miss him. I just wish we would honor the damn guy. I mean, we skipped him right over. 12-year vet, literally
got to be next year. Next year.
Top 3 linebacker. I know. Why would they skip him? I don't understand it. Like, why leapfrog?
They need to spread it out. They need to spread the love over the years, man. They gotta, they gotta have these days.
Yeah. I don't know. Bothers me. Even though I love the guys that they gave it to, and that's certainly not, what I'm saying. I think they deserve it, and I love them. But skipping over Mo, I don't understand. He's been skipped over his whole career. I mean, he was literally, top 3, if not the best linebacker we've ever had. And I'll have that argument with anybody, not that anybody's arguing with me, but I'm just telling you, I'm ready.
I was going to say, like, he pretty much is, yeah.
Ablab checking in. What's up, Ablab? Thank you. Good to see you, buddy. Ablab Studio. You know what, Ablab? You got to show us one day what is Ablab Studios? What are you producing
behind the scenes at Ablab Studios?
Yeah, like what is it?
He's printing money down there apparently because he keeps giving it away.
The blah blah studio.
Yeah, printing it. So maybe we can promote it or something, anything, you know what I mean, Ablab? But thank you nonetheless. As I understand keeping fresh bodies on the defensive line, but if someone, Quinnen, is dominating, why not bypass the Ulbrich percentage mandate and let the hot hand play more? Love you guys. Well, dude, that's what we've been saying.
But this argument had to go out the window because they have a top 10 defense. You can't argue now. Like we said, we have an argument if we remain having the 32nd best defense and so forth. We have a top 10 defense. You can't argue now. Like, you have to say whatever they're doing, it's working. Fine. We disagree, but they know best. And we have a top 10 defense. You can't argue with success. So I have stopped with this argument because they've been successful. I can't blame them. They got a top 10 defense. I mean, sorry.
Well, it's a good point. I mean, Frankie's right. And we said that all through the offseason and last year. If what they're doing is working, just because I disagree with it, it doesn't mean I'm right. It's like, okay, well, what they're doing is working, so we don't have a leg to stand on. Now, if what they're doing isn't working, which is really the way it's been up until week 4 this year, then we were pissed about it. And we're great. Why isn't Quinnen playing? It's not working. It's not happening. But it did. It settled, man. And so on the defense, it's really hard to argue. I still think Quinnen should get more time, but here's another interesting thing I'll throw at you. We just traded Jacob Martin. Now, Jacob Martin was a free agent signing that we brought in. We gave him 2 years, $6 million, whatever, $10 million, whatever it was. So they were committed to him. They traded him for a 1-round jump in 2024. I don't think it's about the pick. The pick's fine. It's nice. It's positive. You lose the money too, which is nice. I mean, we have a $2 million dead cap or something along those lines, but we still saved $4 million. You know what I mean? So it's still a net savings. That said, you know what it does do, Ablab? It removes one guy who's getting approximately 20% of the snaps every week, whether it's 18, 24, whatever it might be. It removes a guy who's been largely ineffective. And it replaces those percentage numbers with guys like Bryce Huff. Maybe even Michael Clemens folds in and takes a few percentage points. And then obviously when Jermaine Johnson comes back. So now we have those guys, because clearly when there's a guy on the team, they feel they have to get him on the damn field, unless it's Mims, of course, but they have to get him on the field in the defensive line rotation. So now they saved themselves from themselves by trading Jacob Martin. And even though, hey, good luck, Jacob Martin never did anything wrong to us. He got a sack and a half. He made a couple plays, but I still think it's much, much better and beneficial for us and advantageous to have guys like Bryce Huff and Michael Clemens and Jermaine Johnson go up maybe 10 percentage points each game. I think that's going to be a positive for us. And that makes me very, very happy to see. So there you go. So there,
you know what coincided with the defense starting to play better? There was a coincidence.
Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff started playing. They took him off the inactive list, and they said maybe this guy who has like the quickest win rate of all time, maybe he should do something. Oh, what a G. Well, so at least they realized it at some point.
And I remember there in the offseason, there were 2 guys in the chat who roasted me for being a Bryce Huff fanboy and all of this. Because I kept talking about, no, the guy, he had a back injury last year. That's why he wasn't effective in the second half of last season.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the fruits of that. I will say also, don't leave out Vinny Curry. Now that he's back, I think the Jets just treasure him more. He played a third of the snaps last week. Vinny Curry's getting a lot of playing time. They really respect his leadership.
And
so
they,
can't leave out
guys
VC.
gotten a couple of tackles for loss. He hasn't been great, but he's been good, pretty good. Got a couple of tackles for loss. He's been okay. But yeah, and Jermaine Johnson's coming back. Let's not forget Jermaine.
Yes, he is. He's supposed to play this week, from what I hear.
Yeah, I think he will, and hopefully he'll start being like our other rookies. Let's get all the rookies going. How about that?
Yeah, we're going to own the all rookie team. Half of it's going to be Jets.
All right, I'm going to take a risky. I'm going to do something risky right now. There's a lot of Mo Lewis chatter in the thing. Now we're going to talk about Denzel Mims before we wrap this damn show up. I want to let you guys know I have to drive an hour and a half in the morning at 7 a.m. to go pick up fence gates. So I got to do that. I'm surrounding my area for crops. We're getting it started. I'm going to have chickens and shit, guys. You'll see. It's going to be nuts around here. I might even get pigs. We'll see how that goes. So I got to wake up nice and early, but
egg and ham.
I'm still awake.
Bean.
Yeah. Hey man, green beans. What do you think?
You literally will have a greenhouse.
Right. Green beans. I'm telling you, I'm going to have a nice section of my crops for green beans. I'm going to grow the best.
Gold, Jerry. Marketing gold.
That's right. Gold, Jerry. All right. So I want to do this since Dick Cramp loved Mo. Thank you again, Ablab. Let's see this. It's risky and I might have to cut it out later, but let's do a little bit. This is Mo Lewis's rookie year for all you young kids who never got to see him. And for all you old ass fans like myself who just miss good linebacker play. He was the defensive rookie of the year this year, the year I graduated high school. Let's take a look. I'm going to do it in silent though. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
It's nice and grainy like we like it.
I'm just waiting for John Facenda's voice to come out of nowhere.
Good coverage. Now, the interesting thing about Mo Lewis is that he played in all sorts of different defenses. When he was a pass rusher, he would get double-digit sacks. When they put him in as a coverage linebacker, he'd get 4 or 5 interceptions. Like, that's who he was, and he laid the wood. So this is our friend, our friend Jets United.
There he is.
Yeah, our friend Jets United put this. I haven't seen him in a while. I think he was doing, I forget what he was doing, but he was putting these together, going through all the old tape, man, and getting us to be able to see our old players and shit. So he's got a few on his site. If you guys get the opportunity to go to see Jets United, go to Jets United's YouTube page and give him a follow. He's the guy spending hours and hours and hours putting this together.
This is good. Oh, that's nice.
Hey,
all the highlights against the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were not good at this point in time.
Well, you know what it is? He's just going through the seeds. I mean, this is going to be long. I don't know if I can play it, the whole thing. But he's like literally going through game by game by game by game. You know what I mean? Wow. Doing the whole rookie year. You see? Hey, guys, real quick. Look, do you see it?
The logo?
Look, there it is.
Yep.
That's what, remember we were talking about it, guys. That's what the 50-yard line looked like at Giant Stadium for years because the Jets-Giants thing. And they couldn't figure out how to get real grass and how to, they just put a damn New Jersey thing on it. That's what we got. Let's fast forward and see. Let's look at this. Let's see what he does here.
There was a cut Mo made just on that last play. If he'd done it on the new stadium, he'd have torn his knee up on that freaking grass MetLife turf.
Yeah, man. Remember they had the trays. Remember the trays? Get him, Mo. Where is he?
There he is, down coming up and finished off. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see more of a highlight. This is like every play that he's in. This is something I'd watch by myself. You know what I mean? Let's see. We'll try to get a couple goodies in here.
Come on. There he is in space.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. It's a good play, actually. Very good play.
I mean,
all right. But all right.
PFF grade, though. What was his PFF grade?
I know. What is his PFF? Hey, what do you guys think of that? But what do you guys think of that shit? The whole Quinnen Williams thing really blew open the doors of PFF and how they really roll. They came out and gave him a 64 or 5. for that game against the Green Bay Packers where he literally dominated. He had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. He had a forced fumble. He had a blocked field goal, 64. Jets fans freak out. They said, oh, sorry, 74. They fuck you. It's not enough. It's crazy. Then they come back and said, all right, 84. And then when the guy, the senior analyst was on Twitter trying to defend it and they tore his head off, he admitted that he'd never even seen the game. I got to admit, I didn't even watch the game. So what the hell's going on? Aren't they supposed to be like statistical analysis experts, Frankie? What do you think of that? Does it mean that nothing they say is honest?
So what it tells you is if they're changing grades, then their system is screwed up. They should never change a grade. Once it's solidified, unless there's some very weird thing going on, should never, ever change your grade because that tells you your methodology sucks. Now, how it works is they have an army of volunteers who collect all the data from the games. I know this because I applied to be one so that I could learn how they do it. A little subterfuge.
Right.
And they give you this form and they tell you how to do it. They show you how to log into the game and you have to chart a lot of data. Like it's insane. I couldn't even do it. I was like, I can't do this. So you have to chart like how much air time is on the kick and this and that. And you chart all this stuff. And then it goes to another guy and then it goes to someone else. And that's how it works. And so that guy who's the head of it, he's not going to watch a Jet game. I mean, why would he? But but there's a big team of people who do all this, and God knows how well they do at collecting the data and then analyzing the data. At some point, somebody has to look at the film and say, all right, this was a +2 or a -2 or whatever, or 0. So,
right.
But who knows the quality of the guy watching? I mean, what does he know? Why is he qualified to do it? So, but if you're changing grades, that reveals your methodology as being bad. So,
right.
They're using the same scoring system as these other people who are watching all these other games. I can't expect one guy to watch every single game all 3 hours, 16 games.
Like I look at that, it's a -2. I look at it, it's a -1.5. You look at it, it's a -2. It's like, well, how can we have consistency in the methodology then?
It's like being a judge at a boxing match. This system might be different than that system, and that's why you get different scores.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that shows like when people like base so much on this organization, like they're telling you right there, like even like what Frankie said, their numbers, if it is subjective, it's like, then why? I mean, how can they be how can they be a foundation for any argument if they can change things and see it different ways? They're supposed to have a statistical analysis. And they look at it and he did this, so that means this. They're supposed to have that system. But even if that's muddy, you can still almost say, okay, well, okay, we understand there's a little bit of differentiation between different guys. Okay, fine. But the fact that they're just not watching and putting shit out there, and it happens to be the extreme negative, that to me, I mean, if you're going to do that, wouldn't you think you just kind of take the middle road just to kind of maybe be safe? You know what I mean? They just jumped all the way to the negative. And in my opinion, they really tainted their name, man. I don't know. I think how many other times did they do that? Like how many?
I can tell you that Sauce Gardner took them to task about the touchdowns they assigned to him, and they changed it again. Sauce Gardner said, hey, you can't put this touchdown on me. I did this, this, and this. That's not on me.
Oh, you're right.
And he explained it. And then they were like, oh, yeah. Okay, you have no touchdowns given up now. Like, what? So a guy complains and you just change it. So
maybe Tremaine Johnson should have tried that while he was a Jet for all the touchdowns he gave up. If
we should all complain. We should all complain about all the grades. Maybe Nathan Shepard really is a superstar. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe right. Maybe right. So that's the thing. I think it's really interesting, man. Like again, tool to a degree, but man, what they say is it's not law, man. And this was a big one. And they should take a real big
something
hit.
Else about it. I also heard that all pro voters use PFF as a way to influence their votes. They look it up and see who should I vote for the all pro.
See that? Look at that shit. Yeah, it is.
Pro Bowl
it's like
voting will be out soon. I bet PFF will be the PFF rating will be part of the Pro Bowl now.
Well, you know what,
I know
man?
we're not having the Pro Bowl, but still.
But look, it erodes the fabric of everything. It's like, and they look how many times, like for example, a Mo Lewis, he had better seasons like that when Junior Seau and Derek Thomas. Of course, they're big names and they're great players and everything. God bless both of their souls. Rest in peace. But there were years where Mo outperformed both of them, wasn't even considered. And it's like, why? Because these guys aren't even looking at it. They're just, it's a favoritism. I don't know. I know this guy or whatever. Like you said, they're looking at PFF in today's day and age with analytics. They're looking at an organization that isn't even looking. And they base it on that. So that's the guy who's an all-pro. That's why Jamal Adams made so much money when Jamal Adams hasn't fucking impacted a game in 5 years. He just gets stats. That's it. He doesn't do anything for a team. Yet he's in a multiple year all-pro, 17.5. There you go. Jamal Adams owns PFF, I think. So it's been very good for him. So real quick, before we go, I just want to say, I think, Ronald, you mentioned my hate shirt. This is actually Hate Ashbury, but you're right. We drafted a big, huge offensive tackle named Mike Haight, and I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. But the doctor on the Jets at the time advised the Jets to stay away from Anthony Munoz because of his potential injury history. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
He ended up being one of the greatest of all time Hall of Fame left tackle. A couple years later, he gave the stamp of approval for Mike Haight, whose career was never off the ground because of knee injuries. So this is the kind of shit that the Jets have been. I mean, dude, we've had just slapdick staffs all the way back to the 70s, man. Like, it's amazing that we even got the sack exchange together. It's amazing.
Who is the doctor? Kevorkian? Oh, my gosh.
Right. It's not Dr. DeWeese, and that's all we care about, right? That's all. So real quick, guys, before we go, it's 11:15 for God's sakes, Frankie. So we would just want to know. Corey Davis is hurt. So by necessity, Elijah Moore's being a peckerhead. By necessity, Denzel Mims gets on the field. Now, the first day he's on the field, they play him sparingly, but he happens to have a key block on the one touchdown scored in the entire game. Key block. Not the only one, but his block, if it didn't happen, it wasn't a touchdown. That simple. Then he gets one reception. They throw it to him a 1 yarder. He catches it and turns it into 4 yards, right? Nothing great, but still very important, right? What he did in that game, played well. Then he gets the stupid penalty, which I think was absolutely ridiculous, by the way. But then he comes back this week. So this is his second straight game that he's playing. He's been a healthy scratch the whole season because of Jeff Smith, who, by the way, has played a combined 67 special team snaps. So he's playing 30% of our special team snaps. So Jeff Smith's 30% special teams is more important than Denzel Mims. That's what they're saying. Fine. Jeff Smith also has 3 receptions in 103 snaps. He played 7 games. So Jeff Smith has 3 receptions for 51 yards. Denzel Mims comes in his second game. Amazing catch out of bounds. Like Frankie said earlier, if Zach would have just hit him, he was open for a touchdown. Instead, Zach chokes a little bit, but Denzel Mims still makes an impressive catch. It happens to be out of bounds. Then he catches another one, and then he catches the big one where he gets walloped. Then 2 other guys try to tackle him. He literally breaks 3 tackles and marches 63 yards down the field. And this is in limited sparing play. So I want to hear both of your thoughts. Frankie, I'm going to start with you. Are we fucking done with this? Is Denzel Mims going to play? I mean, what is this? I mean, Salah was talking about him today, but are we done, Frankie? Can the fans stop fucking talking about this guy sucks? He's a wasted roster spot. What do you think, Frankie? Or is it just slapping, just a little something that happened and we're going to move on and Denzel Mims is going to go back to inactive? What do you see happening?
I would think he's not going back to. I mean, you can see what he can do. And we said all he needs to be is ahead of Jeff Smith. And if all he does is block, he's worth it. That's what we said from the beginning. Wide receiver 5. And then if Corey goes down, he's there. He can play the X. He can do the things that Corey does in terms of man press and breaking that and so forth. And so I think I've also read today that he's now permanently in the game plans. They're using him in the plans now, sort of permanently. I'm not sure what that's based on or what that means exactly, but that's kind of good news. So I think he's in the plans. You see what he can do. You can see he's fired up. He's also fired up. He was fired up after the catch out of bounds. He was fired up after the long catch. He was talking to the defensive back, giving him a little back talk. He's fired up. This man is not, lazy or whatever country club Connor wanted you to believe about him. He's not. He's not. He does care. He loves blocking. He said, I want to take that guy's head off. That's what he said. That's what Denzel said. Yeah, I wanted to go hard, and I was trying to take his head off. That's what the man said. He cares.
Yeah. Come on.
He doesn't not care. You don't try to take someone's head off if you just don't care and you're out there. And I had already proved that to you in a video where he's blocking Smoot, the defensive end from Jacksonville. I've already proven Country Club Connor wrong so many times now. It makes me sick. But this is the way it is. This is what the kid is. He has value. I'm not saying he's, Justin Jefferson or anything. I'm just saying, as a wide receiver 5, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody better than Denzel Mims as a wide receiver 5. If all he did was block, all he did was take people's heads off. If that's all he ever did, he's worth it to have a wide receiver 5. That's the way it is. That's the way it will be. If I have anything to do with it.
That's right.
You have a lot to do with it, Frankie.
I like Frankie's answer, Watu-K. How do you see it moving forward? What do you think of this whole thing?
You're making me follow him? Come on now.
I know, it was tough. So, by the way, this show is sponsored by Mike and Ike. Thank you. Okay.
And also bottled water.
Right. And Monster energy drinks. There you go.
Speaking of which, I could use a drink myself, but no, I'm actually amazed as I look at these snap counts. Mims played 44 snaps on offense, 75% of the snaps.
Yeah.
The week before, he played only 41%. You know what? He can be effective. He can be a player. And at this point, you know what? When you have this quarterback, you need to play any receiver who he has a good connection with. The thing is, the receiver he has the best connection with is the man who is in the spot that Denzel Mims is trying to get to. And that's Corey Davis, as we all know. So, there are a lot of Jets fans who are clamoring, no matter how good of a season Corey Davis has, it does not matter what he does going forward. They will keep saying, let him go after this year and insert Mims into that spot. I don't know if I see chemistry in that picture, but
hold on. Yeah, it's there.
I'm starting to see it.
Start somewhere, buddy.
We need to have a caption contest. Give us the best caption, everybody in the chat. That's what I want. I want to see your creativity.
Yeah, that'd be good. Right? Yeah. Hey guys, while watching
trivia, let's do a caption.
Here's what Zach Wilson's saying. So you're telling me,
guys,
Denzel,
caption this while Frankie's talking. Go ahead and give us a caption. Go ahead, Frankie.
Here's what Zach says. So you're telling me, wait a minute, I had you for a touchdown on that one? And Denzel's like, yeah, I had the touchdown. YOLO, dumbass.
Zach's like, what do you mean? You're not going to try my salmon?
I told you I'm sorry.
And Denzel's saying that would be a no.
Here, Twisted says, you ain't dating my mom.
We can stop with all that.
Well,
look at the little guy on the left. Is he the punter? I mean, Denzel Mims is 6'3", so Zach Wilson isn't exactly small there.
Yeah, right.
Zach Wilson, I want to just clear this up for everybody. Zach Wilson, 6'2.5".
6'0", I believe it is. That's his official height. So he's over 6'2".
He's 6'2" and change. Like, I don't know. He's got this just because he's cute. He's a cute little guy. So Y2K, you want to finish your point? You had a great, you inspired us for this, but did you have more to add there?
That's really my whole point. You play whatever receivers, they get the most time, whoever Zach has a good connection with. We haven't seen it with Elijah Moore. We're starting to see it with Garrett Wilson now, which is why Robert Sala's explanation, why didn't Elijah play? Well, because we liked what we saw with Garrett Wilson. I don't see how Garrett Wilson is blocking Elijah Moore from having playing time. That explanation never made sense to me. But we're starting to see it with Will. Nobody was talking about the Wilson to Wilson connection after this game, and that was just amazing. Garrett Wilson was great in this game. I don't know his best game since week 2.
Well, we did talk. We talked about him winning Rookie of the Week. We went through it that way. Yeah. Great game.
I feel like a lot of people were really ignoring it, like the articles, the radio. Yeah, go ahead.
And Garrett Wilson really should have had about 200 yards in that game. I hate to tell you, because he was so wide open on other routes where Zach was pirouetting and running around. So that's frustrating too. I'm sure to somebody like Garrett, even with 115 yards, I could have had a monster game, Mr. Zach Wilson. If you would just find me, please.
Michael, can he get his first touchdown before we start talking about having a multi-touchdown game? That's all I'm saying. I'm still waiting for the first. Remember, Connor McDermott has more receiving career touchdowns than Denzel Mims.
Hey, let the guy get on the field, Watu.
I know. That's the thing. It's like
now he's got to get touchdown. I mean, it's not
let
enough.
Him have it. Let him get one.
I'll tell you this.
Over
I want one.
I'll tell you this, though.
He had 30 yards over expected. That means an average receiver would have had 30 fewer yards than Denzel had.
That's right. Denzel Mims also, he's only been thrown the ball in the end zone, not including preseason, one time. Once. So, and I'll tell you this, too. Hold on.
Chances now.
Baby steps.
He's going to get a chance.
Baby
right,
steps.
let's do this. Wait.
Yes, Dr. Morris.
So Denzel Mims, he had this year, of course, he has a 26.7 yard average. We know it's only 3 catches, but that is what it is. 2021, he had a 16.6 yard average. In 2020, the year that he had food poisoning and COVID in the same year, he had a 15.5 yard average. Dude, the guy, he doesn't play small, but he turns everything into something else. Everything.
Yeah.
There's another one. Zach, you could really finish cooking your eggs in just 6 minutes. You don't have to put them in for 10.
Huh.
Where's the hard frame?
Everybody going with the mom stuff. Indiana says, Zach, stop calling my mom. The end zone isn't behind me. That's a good one, some guy.
There you go.
Know the end zone isn't out of bounds.
Good. Right? It actually takes creativity to not think of a mom joke here.
Yeah, right. It does. Well, that's the low-hanging fruit. Ain't nothing wrong. You want to grab it? You want to just get yourself a peach? Usually pretty sweet, low-hanging. Go ahead, but it could be rotten too, so you never know. JMG, this shit was easier at BYU and Baylor. That's right. I bet they're like, yeah, this was a lot easier down there.
Oh, that's right.
Modine, I can't play quarterback. Don't worry. I know. Look, do you ever listen to yourself, Mo? It's like it's tired. It's crazy. Let's see. Knobcraft, Mims, reading is fundamental, bro.
Yeah.
Talking to gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
David Girardi, you're wide receiver 1?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Jets forever.
Wide receiver 11.
Look at this one, Frankie. Just throw it near me.
Yeah, just near me and in bounds, please.
Right, and I'll get
near me and in bounds, please. I can't. If you throw it out of bounds, there's nothing I can do. And then when you're throwing it away, Zach, then you throw it out of bounds. You see, when the receiver's near, you throw it in bounds. When you're throwing it away, you throw it out of bounds. See how it works, Mr. Wilson? Thank you.
It's like Happy Gilmore. Tap it in. Tap it in.
Happy taparoo. Tap, taparoo. End of the games, Mims was giving Zach a vote of confidence, caught it on camera. Yeah, man. Like, dude.
Why not?
Just do it right, man.
Mims is a good teammate. Look, all this crap everybody said about Mims over the years, too, about his mental state, and maybe he's not a good teammate, and maybe he doesn't hustle, and maybe all wrong. All
bullshit.
Wrong bullshit. He's a great teammate, and he hustles, and he blocks, and he does everything, and just stop it.
All right. Now I'm going to show you guys. Let's see this one. Where is it? Look at this catch. I just want to show you guys this thing here. Hold on. Look at this beauty right here. Where is it? I'll show you. You'll see. Look at this amazing, beautiful catch. You guys see this thing? Look at him.
One of many.
Yeah. I mean, look at it. That's a pretty sweet pass from Darnold, too. I think that was Flacco, actually. I'm pretty sure that was Flacco.
I was going to say, I know the Chargers haven't been on our schedule this year.
Yeah, it was 2000. That's his rookie year, 2020. But look at it. I'm just telling you, man, Mims' talent. It's just so funny. That's why I never understood the backlash from the fans. It was like, he sucks. Get him. It's like, what? All because, I'm going to tell you right now, all because of a couple beat reporters told you to feel that way.
Yeah.
And he had a rough season. Even if he had a rough season last year. Nobody's going to say otherwise. But I don't think they handled it right either. And he had food poisoning and COVID, dude. It's like there's a lot there. Last season was the anomaly. I'm really hoping that he just gets increased chances. We saw it, and it's gonna be fun.
And we know why, GreenBean. In your interview with Country Club Connor, he told us why.
What did he say? I forget.
Well, he told us Denzel would not let him talk to his grandma.
That's right. Denzel wouldn't. He didn't make himself available. That's right.
Himself and his grandmother and his family. And Country Club Connor held it against him ever since, so that whenever there was drama, they hyped it up to a great degree because, hey, you didn't let me. Like that feature that Country Club Connor wrote about Carl Lawson's father, right? That feature, that was a great feature, great article by Country Club Connor. And it was heartwarming. Carl Lawson's father's a Jet fan, all that. Great article. He wanted the same thing out of Denzel and Denzel's family because those kind of articles help his career. Well, Denzel said, no, you can't talk to my grandma. Sorry. Well, he held it against him ever since. That's the way it is. And then because of Country Club Connor, he influenced all those people's opinions. And that's a shame.
I mean, right. Look, and like with respect to Connor, he came on and we had the discussion and all that sort of stuff. I mean, a lot of my gripe prior to what got us to end up doing that was I didn't like the comments he was making. I thought they were very personal, and I didn't think I just didn't think it, like, again, it seemed like, I don't know why these are so pointed. Like everything was so pointed, and it didn't make sense to me because he's been praised as a teammate. He's never had an issue ever.
And
all of a sudden he's like,
college.
Yeah. So anyway, let's just hope Denzel Mims can continue to build off of what we saw. I mean, we saw it his rookie year. We even saw it last year, man. They put him in for 3 plays and he catches a 40-yard pass. They put him in for 6 plays, 2 catches for 35. Like, that's what he does, man. And he had some issues. He had some drops and he had some penalties. But again, he had 5 penalties all last year. Dwayne Brown had 3 in the Denver game. And we didn't put in Connor McDermott like we put Tariq Black in for Denzel Mims. So just hold him to the
consistent game. Yeah, let's just see a consistent good game. I'm not interested. I don't need to see 1 catch for 50 or 60 yards. How about 4 or 5 catches for 75 for 80 and a touchdown? Catches throughout the game. That's what I would like to see.
But he doesn't throw himself the ball. He had a great game. I hate to tell you this, Watu. He had a great game against that last game. He ran some great routes. He did some great blocking, but he can't throw himself the ball. He can't make Zach throw it in bounds. Zach threw it out of bounds. That's not Mims' fault. Mims did everything he could possibly do, including stopping himself, going on the go route, turning back around. That was an amazing catch by Mims. It just happened to be that Zach threw it out of bounds. He was going straight and he stopped, turned around, flipped around, caught it. I mean, what do you want the guy to do?
I wasn't blaming the guy, Frankie.
It's like
I'm not knocking him,
right?
Knocking him.
No, but look, but the point Y2K is making on some level is accurate. I mean, I would prefer to see them just keep him in there all game, make him a part of the offense more than one little, a one-off. Like that's what they do. They he plays one game and doesn't play for fucking 4 weeks, or he plays 8 plays and they don't play him till the 4th quarter. They put him in for 2 plays. How is he supposed to do anything? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like let him work through some mistakes if he makes them. Keep him out there and let's see what the kid can do. That would be the thing.
Jordan.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Frankie's not saying that that's for the Jets. We're saying why the fan base backlash. Frankie, go ahead.
I was just going to say, please don't mischaracterize what I said, Jordan. I said Country Club Connor influenced your opinion, the fan base, not what the Jets did. He took what the Jets did and blew it up to a degree that the fan base was influenced. He gave you your opinion, Jordan. If you're an anti-Mims person, I don't know.
Right.
If you
and Rich Cimini didn't hurt either. I mean, he did the same stuff. And there were others. I mean, that's the thing. It was kind of, and don't forget, a lot of these articles these days, if you look at it, like just for example, I'm not throwing any shade or anything, like the Jets Wire will put out an article with a big headline, and then their whole article is built on a tweet from Connor Hughes or from Rich Cimini. Like there's no new news there. Like Rich Cimini will say, hey, I had a talk with an agent. Berrios could ask for $9 million. 20 articles refer to that. Berrios could own for $9 million per Rich Cimini. And then you think, oh my God, well, Rich Cimini. So that's how it goes. And then fans get emotionally, they respond emotionally one way. Dude, I've had, like violently heated discussions about Mims when all I was saying, like they say, he's fucking Stephen Hill 2.0. Dude, that's the furthest thing from the truth. And if anybody ever looked at it, you would know. You would know. Stephen Hill's entire college career is less than any one of Denzel Mims's college receptions. Anyone, except his freshman year. Stephen Hill was all measurements. Denzel Mims was production and measurement. It's totally different. And it's like people would like yell at me, you're a fucking homer. And it's like, dude, why are you so mad? Like, what is it about Denzel Mims? Why are we so mad? All I want to do is see if our offensive coordinator can actually use a 6'3" guy who blocks his ass off, runs 4.4 speed, and catches everything. Can we just see if we can use that, please? That's all I'm saying.
In a struggling offense.
I don't know if that works in this offense.
What's funny, watch the game? And then it was like, well, Denzel Mims is out because Elijah Moore, Barrios. And now we can't use Elijah Moore either. It's like, I don't know. Anyway.
There's only one football to throw around. So, we knew at the beginning of the year somebody would not have a whole lot of targets. And it's turning out to be be more. But, hey.
I know.
At least Mims is getting snaps now. But
I'm blown away by it.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. I'm surprised. Even obviously I'm surprised with the reaction from Moore. But just the fact that he's not involved actively, I'm blown away. I fully expected it. So listen, the last 190 or so of you in here, we're going to do some trivia, damn it. And we're going to see if we can do it and continue our streak of awesome sauce. The rules, WA2K will give us a Jets related trivia question. We, the chat, Frankie, myself, will not use a search engine or Encyclopedia Britannica or anything of the sort. We will try to answer it in 4 minutes or less. WA2K keeps the time. WA2K, the floor is yours.
Okay, so the last time the New York Jets defeated the Buffalo Bills at home was 5 years ago, 2017. In that game, there were two Jets tight ends who caught a pass. Name those two tight ends. Your time starts now.
All right. Do me a favor. Repeat the question because I didn't hear the beginning. I heard the back end. So do it one more time for me.
2000. All right. I'll pause the time. 2017. That was the last time the Jets beat the Bills at home. In that game, there were two Jets tight ends who caught at least one pass. Name those two tight ends.
Chris Herndon and Trevon Wesco.
That'd be a negative on both, my friend.
Okay. It was the masturbator and it was Austin Safarian Jenkins.
Oh, I think I now know who you mean.
Yeah, what's his name again? Something Winslow.
Yes, Kellen Winslow. Oh boy, yeah. 2 jars of Mr. Happy and 2 jars of Vaseline. Austin Safarian Jenkins is correct.
Right, there it is. There you go. So Ryan Jets got it. GreenBean has it. I look at Twisted, it's like GreenBean's got this. He's a tight end.
I had a feeling you might have a shot at this one.
Yeah. So is Jeff Cumberland? He was earlier than that. You know who it is? It's the guy who's on Denver right now that we just played. That's who it is. What's his name? Fuck it, man. What's his name? Hold on, I'll get it.
There's a reason I did it. I did this question. You know it.
Did I get it?
Yeah, you got it.
But all right, it's escaping me. You want to give me a second? What's his name, guys? I'll give it to there it is. Tomlinson. There it is.
Eric
Thank you, Jordan.
Oh.
That's
Eric
like
Tomlinson, Austin Safarian Jenkins. Pooh! Oh, and I want to see Ella Faster got it as well. Ryan Jett jumped on it. Jordan Victor. We did well tonight, guys. We did well.
Even late at night.
We go to 11-0.
That's right. Exactly.
Yes, you guys are the Philadelphia Eagles of Jets shows. No doubt.
What is our record now, Watts UK?
I think 9-4.
9-4.
You can get a bye. Keep this up. You'll get a first round bye. Yeah.
And by the way, the game tonight did not turn out to be a trap game, GreenBean.
No. It ended up getting, hey, it was a good game, though. They gave him a good game, and they ended up
a little bit.
Yep.
They hung in there a little bit. I'll tell you something. That Damian Pierce is quite a player. I'll tell you that right now. Kid is Dynamite.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
27 runs, 139 yards. Not bad.
Hey, what are you going to do? All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up. That is the Thursday Thick of It, the 3-hour and 36-minute version. I hope you had a good time. We're going to go around real quick. Let's make this a little bit more precise. Y2K, what's cooking over there at New York Sports Jets Media?
Okay. Now, New York Sports Wicker Media, I just uploaded my confidence picks for this week. I've also just recorded before the show my Jets versus Bills preview and my 5 bold predictions. Those are going to go up tonight. As soon as we log off, I'm going to upload those 2 videos as well. And there'll be more content coming this weekend for sure. You never know what I might be writing about or talking about. Thanks everybody for watching.
New York Sports Wicker Media, everybody. Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie from Flatbush Channel. I got the game story coming out probably on Saturday, and then we do coffee with Frankie 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. Drink some coffee, get caffeinated before the game. Coffee with Frankie from Flatbush Channel.
There it is. And as always, guys, this is GreenBean, Jets fans YouTube page. Right. Don't forget the offer from Manscaped, our sponsor for this show. One last little, just so you see it. There it is. Okay, you can save 20% and get free shipping when get your flash lit groomer for your balls area and beard. That's where I use it. I'm just telling you. So that all said, you can like the video. Please don't forget to leave here without hitting that like button. It means the world. It changes everything. It's how the channel gets seen by YouTube positively. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please take this opportunity to do so. That is how the channel grows. And we, of course, want to grow so we can bring you more fun stuff. I just ordered a Jets mask, like a wrestling mask, like the Mysterio. We'll see how that goes. So I'm going to show you.
Libre mask? Nice.
Yeah, I did it for you. I did it for you guys. So all you could do is give me the like and hit the subscribe button. It is appreciated. That all said, we'll have a video out tomorrow morning about Denzel Mims, and we'll dissect it even further than we did tonight. You guys are the best. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.